Today's episode is brought to you by Faceit. Sign up to the Faceit Pug ranked system right now using this link.
I don't know, like maybe I'm just kind of too much toxic for my tank player, and I'm always say sorry after scrim because
Sorry.
like we have some like things like I told you to talk to Chris like before the Gen.G match I punched my keep like monitor, you know, because like they fucked it up. Yeah, Lear and broke like all disconnect and like you guys like. If you guys playing like this, we're gonna lose today. Like, and punch my monitor and like all thing is broke. Like, and
yeah, that's the only thing holding them back. So
someone just has to gaslight the kid into thinking he's in a scrim. He gets the invite from Faceit Prod and gets the force in the middle, and he just thinks he's in a scrim, and then everything's gonna be fine.
Who's Nightmare's coach?
Wheats.
Wheats needs to change his battle tag to Faceit. And when he invites to Scrim's lobby, it's just the same. That's what he needs to do. If he does that, he can win.
I heard about some, like Junbin told me, like they don't want to play Juno Brick because they were gonna lose if they play Juno Brick. That's why they like keep banning Juno or Brick or Mauga or something like that. And they want to make other matchup because they don't have that much confidence, I guess.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 34 of Uncoachable. It's going to be a stressful week for everyone in the call, except maybe myself. I've got it easiest, but I thought we should record something before the stress really hits, while we're all still in good spirits, we're all still full of optimism, and right now it's possible for everyone in the call to qualify for China. Our guest today is going to be Smash, who seems like he might be odds on to qualify for China with Virtus Pro's recent success. Welcome Smash, thank you for joining us. I hear you're a big fan of the podcast.
Yeah. I like this. I watch it a lot, but probably I need some subtitles. But maybe like I understand a lot and looks kind of funny, especially power ranking or some shit, right? That was so fun.
Yeah, what the fuck were those power rankings, X? Like seriously,
every day I stream, every day I get a message from Shockwave. Just doesn't even say anything now, just comes into the chat and says power rankings. Doesn't even say anything.
Where'd you put Gen.G, out of curiosity?
Fourth.
So you fucked up even that because they came worse than fourth.
No way you put Gen.G fourth, did you? Because you put... Oh yeah, maybe you did.
Al could see a third, and then TU second, TM first. So honestly, we're going to talk about slingshots a lot today, but there has been some slingshot-based momentum with my power rankings after last weekend's result. So I think it might be good news for everyone. I think still wrong on Virtus Pro. Really hard for them to finish fifth now, but you can't get them all right.
I thought versus TU cooks it too because it's impossible for you to get it right now.
First and second, yeah. But I think my best case scenario is I basically get it right, but Virtus Pro is just above everyone, if you know what I mean. So the order's right, but then just Virtus Pro wrong. But we'll see. We should probably start with EMEA as well, because as a lot of people have been telling me, where is Uncoachable? When is Uncoachable? How is Uncoachable? So we've left a couple of weeks out. Cheers to that. We've left a couple of weeks out. So we'll do a little bit of a catch up here. We'll only go briefly over the other regions just because a lot of action and a lot maybe not so interesting. But we'll start all the way back in week 3 because week 3 happened after our last episode. And of course, week 3, the biggest story from week 3 was a certain team's reverse sweep of a certain coach's team, Chris. So I feel like where else to start? Everything's going well against Team Peps. We are 2-0 up. We go to Route 66, and then everything starts to go badly. What went wrong?
Just full commitment to slingshot theory, to be honest with you, mate. There isn't too much to talk about here. Just if you believe in a theory, it's fucking simple, guys. If you believe in a theory, don't half-arse it. Don't just immediately start winning. I remember when we played against TM, I thought, I did the maths. I was like, we can lose this. Why not? One more pull back. So fuck it. Yeah, went in there, got slapped 0-3. No problem. 2 and 5. And then we just get the maximum velocity. And then here we are. I don't know. I guess some of it is a little bit hard to remember on a more serious note. I think that week especially was probably the most AIDS week, if we can use that word in a sense like that. Because I think that was the first week where our scrum results had started to turn around. I think we started to gain a little bit of confidence, and yeah, I don't know. I think we've had a lot of fucking problems this year. I would say it could be an understatement. You might
it's only
notice.
February.
Yeah, you haven't noticed. And I feel at the start of last season with SSG, I felt the same thing where I think somewhere there was like this like mental aspect where it's a little bit like difficult when you build a super team and everyone expects you to win, you know? And I think what started to happen in this, like in stage one with SSG, I noticed the same. And I think the same thing happened to us this season. And I think it happened to TM, to be honest. Maybe like even someone like Team Liquid is having the same thing. I think it's not choking, because you know when a team is choking because someone's actively shitting all over the keyboard, right? It's like, it's really obvious when someone's choking. But I think somewhere there is like, if you watch some of these series, this Peps one was a really good example. I think the maybe the Al Quesadilla one is like a similarly difficult one. But it's like, I think there was like this element of like, we didn't want to lose. Like we were afraid to lose. Like we expected to win. And I think our play slowed down to the point in officials where we were kind of like handing too many opportunities like away. And I think maybe we're like, not to cope on Smash's behalf too early, but like someone like VP, I think the fact that someone like CommanderX fucks you up in the power rankings, it really gives you like this like underdog, like fuck them mentality, which I think makes it really, really like it's quite nice to be in that mindset. Whereas I think what we found was, especially I think because a lot of our guys put quite a lot of pressure on themselves, it's like, if we lose a map in scrims, like, fuck, how can we lose? And then in officials, that kind of translated to a style which was, I don't know, at times it looked like we were playing not to lose as opposed to take the game by the balls and play to win it. I think there was clearly in that series, the Peps one especially, there was some fucking horrendous drafting issues from our coach. I will say the rest of the games are going to go through. I fucking nailed it. But that one, I fucking hinted it terribly. And I don't know, I think at some point, you know, you start to lose confidence. Like that week in scrims, I think we actually had a really good thing going. But if you just slow down that tiny bit in officials, then I think, you know, all it takes is a pick here or there, and then you can lose.
Because the Alcaceres one, that was the same week as well, wasn't it? You lost to them 3-1. And this is where it felt like, because even after that, if we go into week 4, you then lost to TM, and that one felt like one of the more brutal ones in terms of not just lost, but like the gap felt pretty big.
Yeah.
Was it the same kind of thing in week 4?
So week 4, we had a few internal complications that led to our roster selection being slightly hampered. So the Gen.G series, I mean, yeah, we just lose on the maps that like KSA would normally play, but we weren't able to play KSA that week. And then that made that slightly difficult. And then yeah, the TM one, it's like a similar story, you know, like we have to win on like on the dive maps. We find a way to lose them. I know. I feel like when I look at I think we lost to VP and they were clearly better. I think we lost to TM and on the day they were clearly better. But I think the other 3, like the Gen.G, the Alcad, and the Peps, are all of them. I really think if we could just fucking make a time machine, like I think they're all really, really, really unlosable series that we lost. So cheers to that.
You think that, you know, I saw a tweet about how you've been gifted a brawl meta and that is allowing you to slingshot yourself out of the lower bracket right now. Do you think like with perks and the meta sort of shifting towards a little bit more Mauga and stuff like that being played, do you think that's actually helpful for you? Or is it more team, you know, slowly unbooming and slowly overcoming the weight of expectation of everyone thinking that you're going to be the best team and then just not?
I think it's a massively great thing for us. I think that when we kind of like after the fucking TM game, we had like a chat and stuff, and we kind of like figured a few stuff out. And I think that one thing that we were really clinging on to was like, oh fuck, Mauga might be fucking broken, boys. And we really felt that like KSA can come in and be the best Mauga immediately. I think even as we've started to see like. It's kind of, I mean, it's a classic situation where we're definitely going to lose next week because of this, but mate, these teams are playing Mauga Ana. Like, think about that. Like, think about, like, if you could, Mauga Ana is insane. Like, those heroes are never meta together, but now I have Twilight and KSA. So now it's like Mauga Ana, you know? And all of a sudden, like, this meta is just like fucking slingshotted, like right into where we need to be. I feel it's a bit unfortunate. It feels like dive is just really hard to play at the moment. Like, we really, really can't make like the dive lineup work these days. But I think the meta has helped us a lot. It's like that was what gave us like real positivity. You know, we went into that week after we lost to TM. We didn't take an off day, and we just like, wow, we went to another level in scrims. You know, like we really, really started to have like a lot of success. And I think that the meta definitely suits us about as good as any meta could, really.
Slingshot. A full slingshot. It like genuinely it could not be more of a meta slingshot for you then. You got the Mauga guy, you've got the Ana guy. The Mauga guy has enormous feet, like truly enormous feet when it comes to stomping on people. The Ana guy, like he's literally only good for that one thing. So, you know, hopefully that works out for another week. Nobody cracks it. I feel like, you know, it's looking as good as it possibly can for TU. Smashy, you think TU can win next week versus TM?
Yeah, sure. I think so too. But my point is, they don't need good patch for them. They can play everything they want. Like they failed and what can I say? They turned up, you know? Like they can play like this, like in start of the season. I'm trust that. But they just like fucked it up, kinda like everyone can miss, right? Fail, you know? But I'm so happy they turn like coming back to a good team.
Yeah.
So good for me because I have a lot of friends in there too. I'm so sad. To be honest, like everyone watching funny things. That's why yesterday, if Pep's winning the TU, that's gonna be like way fun. But I want Cap and Kai win. You know, this is no joke. Like for the year.
Oh, I mean, watching some of their early games, you know, maybe KSA, maybe he need Yubi telling him something during game. But maybe now it's okay. Maybe KSA realized something too, and now he don't need Yubi to tell him to push or go back. Because I remember watching one turn on Coliseum where Kev go push with Blade and KSA has perfect position to go, and KSA just running away and let Kev go alone and die. And I could not understand that. And I thought, if you be watching that, maybe 30 minutes screaming at Nerdy. But maybe Kev let that happen and then just say, oh, what the fuck? And done.
Yubi would not let that shit slide. That's for sure.
No, Yubi would not allow that.
Is Yubi his coach right now or what?
Yubi is always coach.
Yeah. He is the real man. Bembest, no power, you know. Yubi has the real power in that. Bembest just praying to keep on to his job every week, you know.
Wonderful joins the scrim lobby and Bembest just mutes mic and waits 2 more hours.
That's wonderful.
TM always does this thing in scrims, right? TM always does this thing where they ban a hero and then you start the lobby and they say, oh, no, it's a different, oh, sorry, we meant to ban this. And my theory is Bembest does the ban, they load in, and then Yubi says, that's a fucking shit ban, mate, and then changes it. And I have to go back to lobby and change it. It always happens.
Well, because another team who have been building their own slingshot of sorts as well is Twisted Minds, who started a little bit slow, and then maybe their slingshot started going forward a bit before TU's in terms of started to win games last few weeks of regular season. But now feels a little bit like Twisted Minds are back as well. In terms of, obviously, they win the lower bracket game against Gen.G. We'll talk about Gen.G more in a bit because I guess there's someone to unpack there. But Twisted Minds now, they get the benefit of slingshot theory as well. How much of that do you think is them actually fixing problems, or are they also just benefiting from the Mauga coming back into the meta?
My feeling is TM was similar to us, where I think they've actually been pretty good in scrims a lot of the season. I think they really, like, honestly, I think they had the same problem. Like the losses they had earlier, I think they play so slow. Like when they try to play the ball comps, they just play so slow. They try not to do anything, which isn't how they play it in scrims. So I don't know. I think they're going through like a similar journey to us, where they kind of like re-emerging. I think the meta is also very helpful for them. I think when I scrim against them, I see their ult economy, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know exactly. Like, that's a good idea. That one, like they're doing like the way they play Saravasa. It's like fucking. I can tell you who's calling and what they're exactly calling. And I think a lot of Mauga meta a lot of it is like ult economy, right? Like there are still angles for Smash Fury, but so much of this meta is how you use the ults and how you rotate them. And I think I can see TM immediately, like in their game against Gen.G, they're really, really, really good at that. And obviously, any Sojo meta, they have that one guy that seems to click on the head more often than he doesn't. So I think TM is really, really strong right now. I actually feel like at the end of the season, I feel like there's like the level is pretty high. I don't know about Alcad. We didn't scrim them too much, but people say they're pretty good too. So I actually think going into the Final Four, I think genuinely any team, maybe except Alcad, I think they could all genuinely win the tournament, not just qualify for China.
That's true.
I feel like I'll go on.
Is this as good of a candidate meta for VP getting upset as any? Because I feel like everyone was saying, VP feels like the strongest team consistently throughout the whole regular season, I suppose. But now we come into playoffs and it's just like a hard Mauga meta, and it's a bit of an equalizer from the sounds of it, Like I don't think anyone was really saying during the season that TU or TM were going to win the stage, but now it feels like it really could be competitive for any of these teams. Maybe Smashy's a little worried now.
Yeah, because I hate Mauga basically. Like I just Mauga hater.
It's not angle comp.
Yeah, like I know, like, but I wanna play more active my game. But Mauga trying to do something too much, he lost his HP and like game is done, no? So
just AFK and AFK and making good ult decision and run away.
That's why we playing a lot of Genji, because I wanna play more active. Like that's why we don't using Para that much. But maybe this week we have to practice Para somehow. Like for me, our Gen.G match was really tough, because when I'm watching players POV, they had a lot of pressure because they looks pretty cool, but after our match they just destroyed. Like they just get fucked. I don't know why, but they playing Para a lot, but after our match they swapped to Genji, and they don't know how to play versus Para with Genji. That's why they get fucked. I don't think TM is crazily good. Just Genji just like destroy themselves, I guess, because they didn't practice Genji that much, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, crusty.
I mean, I mean, thankfully, I was sick for the last 2 weeks, so we couldn't record the podcast until after the slingshot started to move forward in elevation. But we can absolutely fucking roast Krusty this episode. Like, oh my god! Like, I'm looking forward to that section. I dodge all the hate for myself, but yeah.
But I
Was it
heard
that
like
bad?
no. I thought they just like they had like bad 1 week, but after our match they realized something and they finally winning the scrim, and they figured it out themselves before our match, and then only 1 day for them for playing good, and they forgot real kick, and after versus us, and I'm checking replay, they play pretty good real. Like they want to do something with team. That's why we just kind of confused versus them. But yesterday match was like, what the fuck? Like they didn't play the game, and that made me kind of sad. Yeah, because I love Gen.G. Then TU, TM. Yeah.
Gen.G figured it out for 1 day and then forgot again and got shit on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just wake up, you can't remember what happened yesterday.
I mean, people talk about the crusty crack pipe, I feel like it's consistent of someone addicted to crack that, maybe for a day they would have this feeling of euphoria that they've figured it all out, and then they load into the actual clutch situation and it turns out that they're completely fucking hopeless,
There's a come down.
There was a hard come down for Gen.G, for sure. Something about an overclock on a rally. I mean, oh goodness.
Smash, when you picked Gen.G to play, was it before Mauga was meta?
Yeah. Like, no. That was Mauga meta for sure. But I don't know. Like For me, just Gen.G DPS is way weaker than Arcadia DPS. That's it. Like, just that's it. Like,
Hey, be nice to Sauna.
Lapta and Checkmate is pretty good DPS right now for me. They're flexible and they can play para both, and both is really good para player. And I don't want to pick Arcadia. And we almost lose to them. And maybe I just decide after like 30 seconds. I just want to pick Gen.G, and that's it.
Ended up being good decision.
Yeah.
Come into the Pharaoh meta and you've got Lubda not even playing Pharaoh because he's too busy on
Yeah,
Sojourn
yeah.
But he was actually fucking dominating by the way on Sojourn.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Like,
I mean, he's just a really good player, dude. Like,
I think so too.
yeah, really.
I don't know, dude. The guy won World Cup on BAP. Anyone trying to say that he's a one trick after he wins World Cup on BAP is completely fucking delusional.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, just such a good player.
I think so too. But when he picked Tracer, that's kind of yummy.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Our friends at Faceit have very kindly sponsored the podcast again because they have an exciting new product. They have FPL, which you might have seen on a lot of Twitch streams recently. Faceit Pro League is essentially a private pug system where some of the best players in Overwatch can get together, play, get sorted into teams, and they can go into voice and have some really try-hard, really tough matches. What Faceit are also doing is getting a version of this that is open to everyone. So now you yourselves can join in as well. I think this is a really exciting system. You've probably seen a lot of your favorite pros playing it on Twitch so far this week. I think the captain selection system, picking the maps, hero bans, everything like that, really reflecting the pro system and giving the pros the best place to practice against players of their skill level. Also, benefiting all the players trying to come through as well. It uses all of a Faceit integration system as well. So there's not a lot of work for you to do on your end. All you need to do, log into the website, say what role you want to play. It will sort you into lobby, and then you get sent to your match, invited directly into game, join the voice channel, and have a nice time with the rest of your team. I think a lot of the problems with ranks and the complaints that people have will be solved by this system. So I think it's super exciting what Faceit are introducing, the fact that we're going to see the pro version of it, and that we're going to get this new beta version of the open system for anyone of any skill to join in with.
Anybody that plays ranked knows that ranked can be an absolute nightmare, where you get random people that are not trying very hard, that are clocked off, that are on their 10th tilt queue of the day or something of the sort. But Faceit, on the other hand, I'd say that it is really so good for playing in the practice environment. Like, you know, even if player quality is at times, you know, a little bit sketchy, the difference in effort game to game is night and day between Faceit Pro League and ranked. Like, if you watch a ranked game, maybe you'll have one or two people talking per lobby at best, and then a bunch of people that are out of voice and clocked off. If you're watching a Pro League game, if you're watching something like that, everyone is taking it completely seriously. Everyone wants to win. There are some stakes as well for the pros, which makes them, you know, a little bit more incentivized to take it seriously. But at the end of the day, just putting people in an environment where it is definitely serious and you're not queuing up just to troll no matter what, and there's moderation around that. So, you know, if people are continually trolling and such, they will be, you know, eventually removed from Pro League. It makes sure that game quality is really, really high across the board and effort is really, really high, which has been really good for the pros.
I think one thing we spoke about when we did the Faceit League 2 was we always said that this is actually the most fun way to play Overwatch, like objectively, right? Like playing in hard coming. And I think that maybe one of the problems with the Faceit League is if you don't have a team to put together, it can be quite challenging. Whereas this pug system, you can just play, like you can just join a game and you actually get such a better experience. It's 100% the best way to play Overwatch. I think even if you're someone that you would maybe consider yourself an aspiring pro, one of these really difficult learning curves is going from ranked, where you just control your hero and you just play whatever you want to play, no one talks, to an environment where, oh wow, we're ult tracking, oh wow, our comp actually has to be coordinated. All of a sudden I need to be able to listen. Listening is a really, really important skill, being able to time stuff. It bridges that gap, because what Faceit is going to be, that what FPL is going to be, is it's effectively going to be like mini scrims. You are going to have to be on the same page as your team. You are going to have to play heroes which like counter swap the enemy team or benefit with your team. You're going to have to learn a lot of skills that when you then start to transition into scrims or into some sort of other tournaments, this will actually have set you up for a much more success than just ranked ever could.
I think it's really perfect as well, because you think how many times when you talk about the best way to improve as a player, the best way to improve as an individual, almost always one of the best things you can do is just find a tougher practice environment, play against better players. And this is the perfect way to find that. You're not going to be in these situations where maybe you're just handicapped or held back by your team or by people not talking or not cooperating. All of a sudden, you're going to find yourself with a load of people trying quite hard. If you're having problems finding a team as well, this is probably a great way to find like-minded people who you can then team up with and then enter Face It League as well. And the best thing about this open system and just joining the ranked pugs is that it feeds into FPL. So if you finish high enough in the ELO, you're top of the leaderboard, you'll get a chance to go into FPL, you'll get a trial, and if you're up to the task, you get to stay in FPL as well. If you're not up to the task, you can go back into ranked pugs, play some more, keep grinding, and give it another shot as well. So in terms of the sort of progress for individual players, I don't think there's anything better. I know from myself, I'm going to talk about TF2 again, but back in the day when I got to play pickups and I got to play against occasionally with like the top players in the top division, all of a sudden, it was one of the biggest learning experiences I was ever have. And I wouldn't be able to have that experience without some kind of pug system. And I think we've never had anything really like this in Overwatch at this scale before. And I think this is what FaZe is going to bring with this system.
Yeah, the integration looks really solid. Like you don't have to sign up to any weird Discords or anything. It's very, very quick, very seamless. Like the lobby gets made for you. You get auto invited, so the process is very quick. You get to mimic hero bans like in pro play, which I think is also quite fun. I think there's to be honest, I'm super jealous. Like when I was a pro back in the day, I would absolutely love the system like this. You know, like this is a real way to grind to improve that will 100% be more beneficial than ranked ever could.
And if you want to sign up to that now, you want to get involved in this beta, you can use our link, which we'll put on the screen somewhere around here. Use that link, sign up right now, open to anyone. It is PC only for now, but get involved, sign up, play some pugs, experience it for yourself, get a chance to play an environment that you might not have been able to before if you haven't played ranked. Go join that now, sign up below, get involved, and work your way up to FPL.
Slingshot your way up, some would say.
Some would.
How far, because I guess the biggest worry for Alcacer, I think, when I saw or maybe heard about meta changing, was in Ziad, really. Because Ziad, we've only really seen him play D.Va, Ram if he has to, if D.Va is banned. But seems like he did really okay as well.
On scrims, I think Ziad's really impressed me this season. I think his D.Va is really good, but I think he's the worst of the Maugas, especially left in the tournament. But I think his Mauga is really weak, personally. But I also think, to be honest, I think if you watch the Korean series, like the Zeta versus CR, it's less than 50% of the time they're playing Mauga. You know, there's still lots of D.Va, lots of a little bit of Sigma, a little bit of Zarya, obviously Ball, but that's more crazy Boon. So I think you can get away with maybe. I would expect Alcad in their game against VP. I don't think they will Mauga mirror much at all. I expect they will try to play as much D.Va as possible and try to pick heroes which maybe make it a D.Va mirror. I think that's maybe something that I think our team, definitely, if you watch our Route 66 against Peps, but I think in general, I thought honestly, based on scrims, I saw Mauga working in every situation humanly possible, and I actually thought it's just fucking fine, you know. But it's definitely not fine against a lot of comps and on a lot of maps.
No, you were just scrimming versus an North American team, mate. That's the only reason you got that delusion.
But even VP, I saw you guys play Mauga in situations on Dorado and Root, and it looked pretty good. But in the game, when I watch the replay, it's one of those where I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking, Chris? This is so clearly
delusional.
You can't reach the high ground, mate. You know,
yeah.
That legend on the high ground is shooting you right now, and you can't reach it.
Because I remember having that conversation, and it's guys, no, I'm not taking this fucking bait right now. It's just not possible that this fucking idiot standing on cart 1v5, he's defending and he's starting the fight on cart, and you guys are all you're all going to the ground. It's what if you just go top when he's on the ground doing nothing, you know? It's like, oh, the Mauga with 2 hearts is going to block the card even harder now. Like, fuck off. Like, it's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But, yeah, it's pretty strong still.
Because in Korea, especially like for Grand Final, there wasn't that much Mauga. Crazy Raccoon won the whole thing. We'll talk about it more later, but Crazy Raccoon won the whole thing without really playing Mauga at all. I mean, they played Mauga maybe once on Esperanza, and that was a map they lost, right? But it seems like the meta is maybe not quite what it was billed to be. Like, I feel like North America especially, maybe EMEA to a large degree as well. Like, just a bit delusional about it.
I think in EU, like, I can speak from experience right now. Like, the second you give us a Mauga mirror, we're just fucking taking that shit. We're not asking any questions, you know? And I think, like, TM did the same thing. It's like, fuck it. Okay, Mauga's meta. Let's just fucking play some fucking Mauga, you know? And I think most teams are not, like, super invested in working around it. Like, one thing that maybe we'll talk about, I don't know if you found this, Smash, but I found this week of scrims is really fucking pointless because every team only played Mauga. Every team only played Mauga, and nobody banned anything useful in scrims. Every scrim, Roadhog Junkrat, let's just practice the mirror. But we were saying in a tournament, unless you're lucky enough to play against Krusty, right? The team that's losing is gonna start to ban the fucking Mauga or the break or the Juno.
True.
And we had like almost no experience. Like what we would do sometimes in scrims is we would just ban our own heroes to practice it. But then that's also so annoying because you ban something which is bad for you, and then the opponent also bans something which is bad for you, and you're just fucked in an attempt to try to practice because the other team, no matter what, no team would ever try to ban. Like they would just and we had an entire week against every single team on every single map of Mauga versus Mauga. And then in reality, like you saw in our PEP series, maybe we got the Mauga mirror for like one full map and then half of Esperanza because they realized after map 1 they weren't going to win it. And even though I've got some fucking severe hatred for the Renegade this week because he did something very bad to me. But to be fair to him, he banned the way that you should if you don't think you can win the mirror, right? You pick maps around it. Krusty, on the other hand, he was quite happy just to kind of just like, we'll probably start winning. We'll probably start winning soon.
But I thought they have some confidence to Mauga comp. That's why they decide that, like for the year.
I guess I don't know. I feel like after map 1, it was so bad. I thought, what did he ban? What did Krusty ban in map 2 against TM? It was something outrageous,
was it
right?
Junkrat? It was Junkrat,
just fucking. Didn't even ban. You've got like Sauna on Hitscan versus Quartz. At least just ban the Sojourn or something, you know. Like, even if you want to keep playing Mauga, right? At least stop him from being fucking terrorized. But I don't know.
But you know, like sometime I got panic in the match, so it can happen. But I thought if they wanna using like Ana Juno, like I thought they have to pick like more bigger map than Surabasa. That's it. I thought like Junkrat bad doesn't matter, but like if they wanna using Ana Juno, if they pick like some more wide map or something, that's gonna be great for them. But that's for me same like versus BP and Gen.G matchup. We picked Dorado because I'm afraid to their Mauga mirror because I can feel that they're strong. That's why we picked Dorado, and I want to play like Diva Ana or something, like count like holding car with Monkey Ben or something. But they just play Mauga, and then oh my god, we fucked. We can lose this map, like something like that. Yeah, like I don't know. I thought they have confidence on Mauga mirror. I'm surely. I think so too. Yeah, that's it. And Meg like Mauga too because MM, you know.
True. It's a good point. I do feel like in this meta, it was the same thing maybe we spoke about in like, I don't know, I guess we spoke about it a little bit in Stockholm where teams would just keep taking the mirror. But there is like an element of like, if you practice only one thing, to give up on it after one map seems really bad.
Yeah.
But then if you're the spectator, you see it after one map and you're like, stop this shit right now, please, you know?
Yeah.
And But the thing is, normally 9 times out of 10, the spectator is almost always right. You know, like almost always, if you see them get shit on a map 1, it is the correct decision. But it's really hard as a coach to make that decision.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you know, the entire week where we only practice Mauga, yeah, Samoa was a bit shit, so we're not doing that ever again. But that is the right thing to do. But it's really tough.
I think the problem is as well, because there is so much Mauga, right? If you lose map 1, you only get 2 bans. You only get like 2 map picks, 2 bans in a series. So even if you convince yourself kind of close map 1, we can try again. If you do that and it doesn't work out, now you are 2 down. Like, because there's so much Mauga, no matter what happens across the 5 maps, especially if the other team thinks they have a better Mauga team, you're gonna get another shot at the Mauga mirror. So I think you almost have to, like, if you have a comp that you think you are better at, or like something different, you have to use it. Because if you don't use it, and then you still lose Mauga mirror map 2, you run out of chances, right? It's kind of what happened to Peps, right? Once they got to it on map 3, they actually won the map. But when they get to that time, now TU gets to pick next 2 maps, next 2 bans, really tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't know why they ban Break and Sky and Twilight in Esperanza. They ban Break, and yeah, that's kind of. Yeah.
I celebrated so hard when you banned Break.
Yeah.
Because there's one ban which makes it really ugly, and I was like, oh, let's just hope they don't ban it. And they didn't. They banned Break against double flex support.
Did they have a banana available?
No, they already used the banana, but yeah, they could have.
Just ban Juno and they'll be fine.
Bruno, yeah.
Yeah, they start Luciana after ban Brig, you know, like with headshot. Like I thought, like if they have Kitty or something, and this Xe can try and carry, you know, and this that guy is really good headshot, right? Like Pep's tank player. Yeah, and this he can try some carry. Yeah. But after they pick Ana, like, what is that guy name? Zerion?
Yeah.
He's not sure.
Or Twilight.
What?
Yeah.
Did he have God Hand?
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the more I've seen it, the more the hazard starts to look really difficult against the Mauga. I feel like that's been like a really nice. I think someone told me you remember I complained about it in one of the other Uncoachables, how the block didn't work properly with Mauga, like you couldn't shoot through the block. Someone told me they patched that, stealth patch.
Yeah, right.
So now Mauga is like hazard counter, which it should be because any blocking hero, Mauga is normally the counter to that. So then all of a sudden that matchup changed. Like for us this season, the biggest problem has been hazard by far. Like we really, really, really never had any success on hazard, and when it was so strong, it was really difficult for us. But now our best brawl hero just counters that, then you know that's good.
But I mean, like, but blocking Mauga comp is really easy. Like, just ban 3 hero, and someone can win the series 3-0. Like, ban Mauga and ban Juno and ban Break. Mauga comp can lose to D.Va comp, in my opinion. Like, if they don't have Juno Break, something like that. That's why Korean team using a lot of D.Va and only Crazy Raccoon using Monkey and Boar, because they can do that. So I thought, like, they trying. I heard about some, like Junbin told me, like they don't want to play Juno Break because they were gonna lose if they play Juno Break. That's why they like keep banning Juno or Break or Mauga or something like that, and they want to make other matchup because they don't have that much confidence, I guess. Yeah, but in here everyone looks like wanna play Mauga, and sometimes like Chris is saying, like 1 week we playing only Mauga mirror matchup, but when I'm in our scrim, I just banning Juno, Brick, Mauga every 3 map, and can we reset the ban and 1 more versus Pep, and we just doing D.Va or like even Monkey or like something like that, Sigma or something. We practice like other comp a lot. Like just we have 3 block, 1 block is for other comp, something like that. We practice a lot of comp right now. Not a lot, but at least not.
Like, if I go to my scrim spreadsheet right now, okay, since this week, since Mauga meta started, in our scrims, let's see, Jesus Christ, we had only 3 times the enemy banned Juno, and 2 of them were Max in the same scrim block. Like, Max is 66% of our Juno bans this week came from fucking Max, and we scrimmed them 1 time. No one else, never once, you know? And Gen.G did it once and nobody else. So it's like, all of a sudden, you're right. Like, we were playing Juno 100%, but it shouldn't happen. And we were talking about this as a team. Like, we really want to practice other ban situations, but it's like we banned it more than 3 times, you know? But also, we really wanted to play Juno a lot of the time. So it gets really awkward. It feels like every team was really committed to learning the mirror. And in a lot of situations, maybe it worked because a lot of matches, they just took the mirror till the end. But it does feel like there was like I don't know. I guess we in EU, a lot of the time, we don't scrim like serious bans, right? We just scrim to scrim. And then we just like, a lot of the time I'll just ban nothing because I can't be asked to figure out what I should ban. I just want to play, you know, just play. But I think maybe there's a real argument that that was not a smart thing to do this week.
Yeah, I thought that is like your choice, like because we're not banning Mauga comp because we know TU is good Mauga team. I wanna run versus Mauga, and that's why like versus like shit Mauga team, I just ban every Mauga comp because I wanna flex other thing. That's it. That like you guys like playing a lot of Mauga. That's because enemy team don't wanna ban Mauga comp because they wanna practice with you guys. That's it, I guess.
Yeah.
And some team wanna practice Mauga versus us. I just banning every Mauga comp, and that make them annoying, I'm sure. But I don't care.
I think that like in EU especially, there is like a huge degree of, it feels like all the teams are low-key really happy to handshake on Mauga just because everyone feels like Mauga is their power, you know? All of these different teams, they have confident Mauga players and strong Mauga players. I think that, you know, maybe in North America there's a little bit less of that, where people are more trying to like get away from the Mauga, play different stuff. But even in NA, it felt like all week long, you know, lots of teams were like super happy to just keep on playing Mauga as much as possible. Everyone's like, oh, we want to get practice on the Mauga comp. This is super important. But I think that like, you know, just with the nature of bans, like every meta is just always fake, you know, like every meta is always fake to a degree, right? Like you watch these finals in Korea and it's like, people are just playing musical heroes. Like there is not one dominant hero across every single map. It's like it's not just that like Junbin is playing Winston and Ball. It's like Max is getting subbed in and flexing his hero pool too. Like everyone is playing a little bit of everything, and there's like so many different bans that fuck up this perception of the meta comp. But then, you know, some teams, they're just dumb about it and they just keep playing that comp no matter what, you know, like we played Timeless over the weekend and it's like we're up 2-0 and we are absolutely smashing them in the Mauga mirror. Like we 2-0 Koth, we 3-1 Flashpoint, and like truly a miracle of Christ above that they got a Flashpoint, like one singular Flashpoint in that. Like they are getting pounded. And then with their ban on map 3, it like just signals that they want to play more Mauga. And it's like, okay, like why even do anything else? Why would we even change anything? Like we just fucking turned your insides out on Mauga. We'll just keep doing that then. Like who cares? And I don't understand how teams can just die on that sword and not have any other plans. Because if you don't have another plan, you're just going to instantly lose to any team that plays the hero bang game. You know, you go up against Draft Docs Danny, you go up against someone that isn't Krusty. Like you're just going to lose.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, I kind of get it for like, I guess like teams like us and TM, there was a kind of like, I guess we had a mentality this week where it was like, if we're not winning the Mauga meta against Peps, then just fucking kill ourselves anyway, you know? Like there's no way to win this series at that stage. So we were kind of happy, we were genuinely happy to die on that sword because like we have to be so fucked if we're losing that mirror to Peps, you know? Like, fuck it, just, I would have probably jumped off the actual balcony, you know? Like, if we lost that mirror. But I think you're right. Like, I think, like, a team like Gen.G, I don't know, it looks so tough. Like, you look at every hero and you're like, surely TM are so happy with like mirroring Echo Sojourn. It's like, oh my God, like, surely Psycho and Quartz have never been happier. Mag is like, Hattie must be so happy to play against Mag on Mauga mirror, you know?
Yeah.
Mag can do so many things, I think, that make Hadi uncomfortable. He just didn't, you know? And I think that, yeah, unless Gen.G have some just unbelievable Mauga scrim win record, it feels like that sword is a really spiky one.
especially in these games, right? Because now we're just into elimination games. If you don't have a plan B, there's like no second chance, you know?
Yeah.
It's just over. And it feels like, especially, I don't know. I know I was talking to Backbone, and he was talking a little bit about maybe the idea that actually maybe Gen.G almost overhyped coming into it. Because a lot of the teams they beat in the regular season they played teams when they were playing really bad as well. Like they beat TM when they're really bad, and they beat TU when they're really bad.
At any point in the season.
But you know, like as if the fixtures fell kindly, that a lot of the teams they beat were in like not the best state, and then maybe now TU TM better, and they kind of just end up not being able to match.
Yeah. Did they not also like on the road? Did they not match like TVT on the Diva as well? Like, I don't know. I swear
they didn't ban Diva. Yeah, they didn't. There was an option. Like TVT comes in for Dorado, so there's an option to ban Diva, and then maybe play Winston or something. You know, something that Mag has really good chance on a map that's really good for it. And they don't do it.
Ben Juno was kind of nice, but I don't know. Like Juno is not bad because like if they ban Diva or something, they're gonna ban Ana or something, and a bit hard to play Monkey in that map without Ana.
It's true.
So they don't have any choice, to be honest. Like,
but play Ball instead. Just play Mag, like play just Ball.
Yeah, but I thought they lost the confidence to playing Ball.
Yeah.
They played Diva Mirror in the end, right?
Yeah. But I thought Diva Mirror is fine. But if their like DPS pick was kind of awkward for me because TBNT in, they ban Monkey, they're gonna play Diva, and they play Sojan Para. Like, if top D playing Gen.G, I'm sure they can block a lot than Para.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but I just feel like I look at the screen right now and I just feel like this can't be the best way to use map pick and map ban, you know? Like it just, there has to be something better that you could do, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know, like for me, Diva's skill is not that important. Like Diva is real easy hero. Like he don't need skill, just kind of good aim and just he know about game and he can play. That's why like don't have like Diva specialist in my head because
I mean,
like
this is coming from the guy that has a Diva player that's good at Diva, you know? Like Diva's so easy when you have Vestola to play the Diva. But like you think Mag Diva can do that? Like have you ever seen Mag take over a lobby on Diva?
But I mean
anyone at all?
My point is like sometimes Vestola like fucked it up. That we still winning, you know? Like just
bro, it's Ves. Like Ves can literally play with his eyes closed and do better than Mag on Diva. Like,
His Mag's now on Ram on Dorado, so we've solved the problem right now.
It's just not happening.
This looks good to me now.
Yeah, that's real like GG happening. Like they have to pick Ball or something, or at least Diva Mirror or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so difficult.
Yeah. Like, but I don't know what ban is good for them in Dorado. Like, if they ban Diva, they ban Ana, they ban Juno, they ban Monkey. What they can do,
Diva ban is really good because what's TVNT gonna play? You know, like he's gonna play
Mauga, Juno, Brig or something.
Yeah, but then that's I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
But they ban Ana. Like, I thought Monkey cannot do that much. I don't know. Like I thought that is real tough decision for Gen.G. Yeah.
Or maybe they should just go to like a push map and ban Mauga, and then Hattie will be in, and then you can play ball there, you know?
Yeah, something like that.
Esperanza ban Mauga, Hattie will be in. I don't know.
And play Monkey Mirror or Bull Mirror or something like that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's always like a million different options, but you have to feel if you get 2 map picks at least, and you don't find one matchup across all those maps where you feel good about it, then something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
You know? Like
where you're not mirroring their tank on their best hero when you have like a dive specialist, like that has to be another way, I think.
Because we even saw as well, right? Like Crazy Raccoon. I know it's like maybe there's elements of like naivety to say like, just do what Crazy Raccoon do. But like Crazy Raccoon, but they did also find a way to play into Diva, right? The entire time, like into Bernard trying to play it the entire time. They found a way through it pretty consistently. Made it really hard. And like maybe not everyone has like a Winston player, but I feel like Mag Winston in EMEA is more than good enough in that type of thing.
But I don't know, like off tank is better right now because they don't care about that much ban. But main tank have to care about a lot of ban. That's why like many off tank team have benefit right now. Yeah.
Yeah. It was always in our scrims we would play chase. If we protect tank, then Ana ban. If we protect support, Winston ban, and we can never.
Yeah.
You only get 2 dive maps a series, and you could never.
Yeah.
We would never play our comp.
Yeah.
So it got harder and harder against good off tank teams.
Maybe map 5 they have some benefit because they're already using all the ban. So but before like top like 1, 2, 3 maps, first and second, third map is like kinda hard to play main tank for full comp.
So who have we not talked about? I guess we're kind of just at the playoff stage now, right? We have our 4 teams. Should we do some kind of predictions? Obviously, some people in this call might be biased towards their own teams, I think, and their chances. But if we can bring up a bracket, maybe. We have 2 games on Saturday. Virtus Pro versus Alcacia, and then TM versus TU.
Yeah.
What is confidence level, Smash?
For me, like I have full confidence, but always nervous. Like like if I lost my confidence, like how can I talk to my player? Like I'm always like have full confidence, but I'm afraid. Like in my like heart, like because if we win, if we win, like locked in, and if we lose, we have to playing versus TM or TU, and that's gonna be tough. So I don't wanna I don't wanna stop getting stressed. So 1 win and done, please, like and happy final or something, like.
I feel like with the format this year, because only 2 teams go, I feel like that final, it's actually no pressure. No one actually cares about winning. They only care about get top 2.
Game.
Like that playoffs at best of 7, it's just a scrim, No one gives a fuck about winning or losing. Just really want to get to China.
Maybe this is like delusion from the people in this call and doesn't reflect, the minds of the people playing in Korea and China. But seriously, I feel like everyone's just playing for a holiday, dude. Everyone is actually just playing to make top 2 and then clock off, Like the prize money difference between first and second in like the online stage of OWCS is like super negligible too at the end of it all. Like everyone just wants to lock top 2.
10K, right?
10K across like 6+ people.
Yeah.
with an org percentage as well. Like really, nobody fucking cares. Like everyone just wants the holiday.
Yeah. When we talk about how do we it's always just we need to win this, and then we never talk about like the last game. Like who gives a fuck about it,
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know.
Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe Alcacia, if they don't have confidence, like they wanna play D.Va mirror matchup versus us, so we need good practice on this week because we kind of struggled last match versus them in D.Va mirror matchup, so we'll figure it out. And to be honest, I already know, and I teach them how to play, but they just forgot, and it's so fucking annoying. Like just D.Va mirror matchup is so easy, but I don't know.
Do you offer private coaching?
Huh?
Do you
private
offer
coaching?
Who?
Can I buy D.Va coaching from you?
No.
Yeah, so Chrissy, basically the way that you do this, the way that he has figured out D.Va is you have someone that is known to be one of the best D.Vas in Europe, and then it's just really easy and it just works. And his solution is just have like really good aim, and then honestly D.Va is so easy. So like as long as you have a tank player that like really understands the hero and has really good aim, then should be fine, right?
You say that because I figured out Mauga meta in a similar way. I just
have big
Casey
fucking
just
feet,
picked
right?
Mauga and he just kills everyone every fight, and I'm a genius. I did it.
No, because it's easy is the thing. The reason that he can do that is because it's just easy, right? Like you just select the easy hero and then it works. It makes sense.
You know how good my Ana coaching has been this year? It's fucking insane. Ana comp is so easy.
You taught that 25-year-old man everything he knows about Ana.
27.
Honestly. 27! He's my age! Holy shit.
Yeah, I just skip the Gen.G bit. He does it. Another fucking time.
Just get
honestly,
a big nade with good
you
timing.
see their backline? Just fucking throw that nade at them. Oh, okay, Coach Chris, and he did it. Genius, mate. So good.
I love that.
Considering you did that as well, Max, right? Like, I feel like your Winston coaching this year way better than when you were coaching Dante.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Like after coaching Dante, I realized something, and then I thought, when coaching Kellen, now I can show him. It's easy, you know, just blocking backline and a little back jump, and then getting nano, and then so easy. Just now I understand. But Dante taught me that.
Yeah. I don't know, like maybe I'm just kind of too much toxic for my tank player. And I'm always say sorry after scrim because like we have some like things like I told you to talk to Chris, like before the Gen.G match I punched my keep like monitor, you know, because like they fucked it up. Yeah, Lear, and broke like all disconnect, and like fuck you guys, like if you guys playing like this we're gonna lose today, like and punch my monitor, and like all thing is broke, like and then we had a match, and like 200, like we had a good map versus them, and I don't know, like too much stress, and I feel
You
really
fix
sorry
monitor
to...
after?
Huh?
You fix monitor after? They winning map and you fix?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I like because I have to keep reviewing more things. That's why I fix Hurry. You know, like after punch, I have to fix Hurry because like we have more review. You know, yeah. That's why like we have some Or I'm just every day yelling them, and I'm really sorry. Apologize to them after work, and go to my home and just sleep. Like every day, same. Just too much yelling to them.
Is it more stress now? Because at the start of the season, maybe certain people, maybe a lot of people didn't think didn't think VP would be super strong.
Yeah.
But now
like,
after regular season, everyone thinks VP favorite for China. Is it more stress now?
Getting a lot more stress, especially for me, like because like Gen.G doing really good, but they losing to Peps. After that, they getting broken. I'm afraid my first lose in this series. Because that gonna be changed a lot after one lose. Like Gen.G, Gen.G after lose to Peps, they getting like bad. I got some rumor like Gen.G is so bad in like 6 team, like on EU EMEA like 6 team, they're worst. I heard about that a lot of rumor last week, so I'm just afraid to losing first. Yeah, I'm afraid to losing right now because it's gonna be changed a lot after losing. That make me so pressure.
I feel as if there's like a world in EU where the best 2 teams in this meta are Twisted and TU, and one of them is just going to get knocked out in lowers no matter what. Like, I'm not too sure about Alcadcia, like how their power ranks up versus VP and TM and TU, but I get this kind of feeling that like if it is super Mauga heavy and like Mauga Ana is super important and stuff like that, like TU TM they both have like really strong rosters for these metas, but only one team is going to make it through because they're both in lower bracket from having such shit regular season performance.
Yeah.
I feel like if Smashy wanted a free trip to China, he couldn't have asked for a better bracket. Like he really couldn't have asked for a better bracket. So like if you can't win versus Alcadcia, maybe just give up, bro, because already you got free bracket.
No, like for me, like I know TM and TU is good Mauga team, but I'm still have confidence to them. Like
yeah, because you have 3 bans to win, so no problem.
Yeah. Like for me, like in Mauga middle, we're just for me, like we win every map versus TM. Like in the scrim, like I'm not that afraid. And
and then on another comp, you win more. So
yeah. So it's gonna be fine, but who knows? Glad he got Terp 2023. Yeah, something like that happened. One more for me. Maybe
one
that's
more?
gonna
Maybe
be.
not.
Yeah. Hopefully not one more. Yeah.
Go next life if that happened again.
Yeah. That's it.
For Alcadcia, should they not just play Tread on some of these maps in these situations? Was Tread not quite successful in Mauga meta last year when like the team that became Gaming Gladiators did quite well in all of that.
He scrimmed a few times against us, but you know, sometimes when players are like cursed, and it's like this would happen a lot. Is they like we'd scrim Alcad, they would win the first 2 maps of the series, and Tread would come in and they would just lose. And it was like you can tell that it's like it's not even Tread playing bad, but it's just you can see what's happening within the team. You know, it's like they just think Zeta is better, and it feels like I don't know. When we scrimmed Alcad this week, it was the same. It was only Mauga, so they didn't play any Diva, and I think they looked really bad at it. Like I actually thought this team was, but then people also said, "Oh, Alcad are quite good this week," and then I said, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, they play Diva everywhere." So it's like it's maybe what Smash is saying, where like teams just use us for Mauga practice because they think it's the best that they can get, and then in other scrims they practice like other comps, you know?
Yeah.
All right,
Why are you
then. Should we
laughing?
put money? Oh, go on.
Oh, just Jay Wu walking. Fucking funny.
All right, money where our mouth is then. Which 2 teams go to China next week? Smash, you pick first.
Hopefully Virtus Pro first.
Yes.
And I thought TU, not because Chris in here. Yeah. I thought TU is kind of cool on Scream, but they have to like prove themselves. Oh, we are good on match 2 or something like that. If they playing like Scream in the match, maybe we can meet them in final. Or we just got fucked by Alcacia and we get a long vacation or something, you know? Like who knows? Like
Chris,
I have
I think I might not. Oh, go on. Sorry, Mass.
I agree. VP and TU.
Ooh.
All right, answer someone with less stakes in the race.
I'll just go VPTM just to be a contrarian, you know, just to not believe in my mates. Like,
Oh, VP already got. Everyone say VP. Yeah, so I'm fine. Okay, I don't care about other team to be honest. Like I just
yeah,
get my one.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not watching any Al Quesadilla game, so I'm not sure, to be honest. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be VP plus whoever wins TM versus TU. I feel like I want it to be TU, Chrissy, but for Pep's game, it was so ugly. It was so ugly. But
yeah, okay.
I know it's
That's
possible, but like I think TM, unless I was gonna say choking, but I feel like choking, like you said, like maybe not quite the right word, but there's like close the distance between practice and match day.
Look, not to get too caught up in like velocity theory and such, but the understanding is that, you know, when you're in a slingshot and you're right at the bottom, you actually have to accelerate from the bottom, right? Like you start at rest and your pace increases on the ascent. And I'm very careful with how I'm using my hand here, but your pace increases as you ascend through the slingshot until you actually leave the elastic area. So what we witnessed in that Peps game, that was the change from negative movement as they were going down to back up. That's, again, incredibly cautious with my hand here. My heart is going nowhere in this analogy. But yes, really, this is just slingshot theory in action, where Chris, he was going down. He was at rest, and now he is beginning to accelerate up. And during this week, perfect, Smashy. Exactly. That is slingshot theory with your hand, brother. Yes, perfect. So now Chris is accelerating at almost breakneck speeds for the next week. This next week of scrims is going to be unbelievable how dominant TU is going to be. And by the time match day comes, I mean, they are going to be leaving the slingshot and rocketing through this lower bracket.
The thing is, if you think about with TM too, because they decided to try in the regular season against us like fucking idiots, what they're doing is they've already reached max velocity. But again, velocity theory tells you that they're going to start to slow down this week, whereas we are only going to accelerate. So the fact that we're already similar speeds, that fucked. It's just science. Like there's almost nothing else to say.
My understanding is that an object in motion is prone to actually stay in motion rather than what you just said. But you know, the slingshot theory doesn't actually say anything about slowing down at the top, is my understanding.
Well, I think if you consider the concept of gravity, I'm almost certain that
it could be lateral. It could be lateral movement. You know, like
I feel like what I feel like I'm not a scientist, but I feel like what you're saying is every single thing that's ever been slingshotted should still be circular in the earth. But I'm also
it could just keep going up forever until there's an opposing force, right? You know, we didn't really throw gravity into this equation just yet.
I'm always
feel like
we're in a
situation-
nonsense vacuum right now.
There's
Like, truly
assumed
a nonsense-
gravity in these situations. I think there's
Damn
assumed
it.
Okay,
gravity.
in that case, TM they peaked long ago, and
Yeah,
all they
they're
have is a
literally-
fall that remains.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're past
Didn't
maximum
TM
velocity.
like absolutely dominate? Like, do you think they're at the peak right now?
Yeah,
Well, maybe
I
they
mean,
were at the
this was
peak
max
last
speed.
week. Last week was
But
the
they-
peak, and now after maximum velocity, you slow down. Whereas TU, they
Wait.
haven't reached maximum velocity yet.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
So there is more velocity to gain.
Was
Yeah.
it TM Gen.G? Was that the game this weekend?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were still going pretty quick. Like, they were mind controlling Crispy to put his shield down versus a bomb. Like, actually inside his head. So I
Yeah.
think that there's still some pace in him, but it could be the peak.
I'm almost certain we're going to keep the shield up. Shields up.
Gladiators reference.
Shield up.
Shields up.
Here at Uncoachable, we'd like to take the time to thank FLX Red Eyes for being an extremely uncoachable supporter on Patreon. I'm recording this individually to make it extra special. It's definitely not because we forgot to record it at the time. It's just so we could make it extra special. If you want some extra special treatment as well, you can sign up to our Patreon, support us, get early access to all the episodes, and of course, exclusive access to our Q&As that we do monthly, as well as obviously the ability to ask us those questions. So if you want to be like FLX Red Eyes, one of the good ones, be sure to sign up and support us today. All right, we'll move on to North America then. I think there's probably a little bit less to catch up on North America because the nature of North America is
It's fucking
most of the
boring.
regular season was dreadful. Yeah, most of the regular season was dreadful due to the front loading of it. So we
First
had a
week,
very
though.
boring. Whoa, what week one? But a very boring week two. Somehow an even more boring week three, followed by a mildly uninteresting week four. The only result I think worth talking about, because obviously Max did made pretty short work of Timeless for not the first time, but the big result was obviously Nightmare beating Team Liquid in the regular season. Not just beating them, but beating them 3-0 as well. Beat them, played all different matchups, beat them on everything. I feel like Cuffer had a fantastic game. Zero good as always. UV and Admiral actually starting to look like one of the better backlines, or maybe not better, but like one of the best backlines, potentially the best maybe, in how they're playing. And everything seems to be going well for them here.
Who won this map? Was this?
It's
Did
3-0.
Nightmare win this
Yeah,
map?
Nightmare won.
God.
Nightmare won all of them.
This
What's
Tracer
interesting
van
about
looks-
this map?
This
Yeah.
Tracer van looks like it's going so hard right now.
It did
I see it on the top
easier.
right, and I'm like, I literally
You know
saw
what?
the comp and I thought, Ball Gen.G, this looks a bit like awkward, and then I realized.
Yeah, I mean, look, if only. But at the end of the day, I'm actually so over the Tracer ban because there was a lesson learned from it. Like, it was
Yeah.
the perfect time to learn a lesson, and we finished Seed 1 anyway. Like, it really had zero impact other than being a positive learning experience at the end of the day. So, like,
Yeah.
what can I complain about here, you know? Learned something. If we had won that Team Liquid match, there would have been no learning. It would have just
Yeah.
been, you know, undue confidence. And now instead
Yeah.
there's a learning experience. Oh my god, that skin Admiral has on is absolutely disgusting. But anyhow,
It's true.
I'm truly glad that I banned Ash because, you know, there's a learning experience in that. You know, trauma is valuable in competition, which is
Yeah,
you know,
you're
why
winning,
most
you learn,
players-
you know?
crying? You're
Yeah.
crying? Ah, yeah.
You have a winner, you learn, and let's just say to you, we're a smart fucking team, okay?
You've been cramming lessons in this year so
We are
far.
so
Are we
intelligent,
gonna
you
get to the second part of this Nightmare Liquid story? Because I mean, you've just painted this narrative that Nightmare is like the best team in North America, and they 3-0'd Liquid, and they're so great. Like, can you get to the second part?
Yeah. well, because what we've seen is as SSG got to pick, so we basically just got a rematch in playoffs of these same two fixtures: Team Liquid versus Nightmare, SSG versus Timeless. SSG versus Timeless, nothing changed. It just happened to cap again for the second time in 2 weeks. But fortunes were reversed here for Team Liquid versus Nightmare because Team Liquid won the important one. They won the playoffs and got themselves into the upper bracket semis against SSG here. But this was a very different performance here. So I guess maybe one of the big changes is Knife was off ping, I think, between the games he got off ping. So that was obviously a big boost. But to be honest, it was a much closer series. But I feel like also there was a big issue for Nightmare that it just slipped through their fingers. They got themselves in good positions on Esperanza, and I forget the order of the maps. Whatever the map before Esperanza was
Havana
as well. Yeah, and it
Final
just
2 maps.
all fell apart for them.
Even Nepal, now that I think about it, I feel like Nightmare kind of
It
choked
was
the
like
final fight on
dogfight, yeah.
Village or something. But yeah, honestly, like it's interesting seeing like Nightmare's performance change a little bit when maybe the pressure is a little bit higher, because I feel as if in scrims everyone is always very intimidated by Nightmare. They're a very strong team. I remember in the preseason before we played them, like in regular season at the start, everyone was saying, oh, Nightmare's the best scrim team. Nightmare's the best scrim team. Liquid was getting like 6-0 dominated by Nightmare. We weren't scrimming Nightmare because we had a match versus them, but it was just a case of like everyone saying, oh, Nightmare's so good. Nightmare's so good. And then we played the match and they just fell over. Like they just fell over, Players are just dying in the neutral, playing really, really poorly, making really big key mistakes. And it felt like that was a little bit of what was happening here in Nightmare vs Liquid, where perhaps people weren't consistently falling over in the neutral, but just these like really massive game-losing mistakes coming out from Nightmare that feels like you wouldn't see them make in the scrims. And you can see that Nightmare are really aware of the fact that they have this problem, because I mean, Cuffer did an interview, I think yesterday, something like that, and he's saying like, oh, like we're really strong, but like maybe we've got some match day issues and stuff like that, but if we play like scrims, we'll win. And it's like, this is all true, but it actually becomes increasingly difficult to play like scrims if you can't even do that in the upper bracket game. Like if you're so nervous in the upper bracket game, where the stakes actually aren't that high still, like you're still not playing for elimination. Yeah, exactly right. Once you go to lower bracket, that's when the pressure is really on, Like when you're in lower bracket, you lose one game, you're out. So if you need to just play like scrims, but you've got players that maybe struggle a little bit with pressure or nerves, that can be a really difficult thing. Like if people, instead of rising to the occasion in the hard matches, kind of shrink down, play that a little bit worse, it can be a huge problem for teams. And I really wonder whether Nightmare is going to be able to thug it out in that regard. I don't think that Nightmare is going to be terribly worried about Timeless, but I mean, even I was watching Nightmare versus Rad, and like the first Koth map came down to a 1-fight margin. It's like 1-1 on Koth, and Rad is 99 to 0
as well.
Yeah, Rad was 99 to 0 up.
Away.
Exactly. And then on Havana 2, it became incredibly close, like down to 1 minute on second point, and Kuffer just went Iron Mike Tyson mode on Ram and started punching everyone to death in the clutch. And, Rad didn't realize it was over until it was literally over. Like, I think Z altered like 1v4, something like that. It was just a disaster. But overall, like, Nightmare's performances have definitely looked rocky when the pressure is on. They won that game versus Liquid when Knife was on ping, and the stakes were not really that high. They were playing for regular season seeding. But as soon as they roll over into the playoffs bracket, it's like definitely felt like Liquid was the team that had their head screwed on straight and wasn't just like pissing away free wins. Whereas Nightmare, maybe there were some elements of that. So I think that they've got like for sure big concerns about their matchday performance now, because it's happened to them more than once. It happened to them once versus us in regular season, and now it's happened to them again here in playoffs.
I feel like there's a real danger this actually snowballs the other way. Is once you sort of start deciding or talking about, oh, yeah, we just have some nerves on match day. I worry it actually makes it worse rather than better as well in a lot of ways. That you just, as soon as something goes wrong in one of these important games, all of a sudden people start to think, here we go again, it's happening again. And then everything just starts to fall apart even quicker. So I don't know. I think it's like a really dangerous, a really precarious situation to be in for Nightmare to try and fix this. Because the problems you were talking about, that game was in week 1. That was 5 weeks ago now. And there's like no progress essentially.
I think it's one of those things where it's just one of those where you really figure out super early on a team whether you're a match day team or not, because you win in practice or you lose in practice, and then you win in matches or you lose in matches. Sometimes you're 2022 Gladiators and you lose in both. But honestly, it's like 23 Gladiators. But 2023 Gladiators was actually a match day team in a lot of ways, because Dante was like the worst player in the entire universe in scrims. But Dante was actually like a 30% better player on match days, genuinely. Like in practice, he was atrociously shit. Like he would get farmed by everyone, feed his brains out. He would be trying, but he would play terrible because he'd just be low focus. He just couldn't really like lock in and perform well. And then I remember in Pro-Am in 23, it was like we load into these matches and suddenly that guy that was a complete bot in scrims for a full month is actually carrying us, which is why we cut him, obviously. But he was really good in matches. And like you figure this stuff out super early. All you have to do is play scrims for a month, play matches for a couple of days, and you can really see what players rise to the occasion versus what players play worse. I feel like it's super easy to figure this stuff out. And for a team like Nightmare, I mean, like Zera's a young player, but like this isn't a team full of rookies, right? This is a team full of people that have been doing this for years. And if these are unresolved problems this deep in, I feel like it's something that's really hard to address, really, really hard to address. And the only solution is just to get so much better in scrims that, even though your match day performances are like almost always objectively worse, that you can just overcome that barrier. But this is something that's very, very, very difficult to deal with. And like Smasher, you remember like 22 gladiators, like never win scrim, never win scrim, and then Patty playing like God in match, like real just like huge difference, and Rhino trying really, really hard in match and huge difference, and like this is something that with every team you clock it super early, and like I think I was discussing this with Chris a couple of days ago, where it's like, would you rather be a match day team or a team that's good in scrims? And it's like, I feel like sometimes it's obviously as a competitor, it's a lot better to be a match day team, right? But like as someone that values their mental health, it's like sometimes I kind of just wish I was on a team that was really good at scrims, and then 6 out of my days of the week wouldn't be fucking miserable all the
time. Both painful. Like I can't choose anything.
Yes. But always we have match team, not scrim team. Like always, it's so hard.
Maybe you like SSG same. When we scrim with you guys, like I don't know how we won. Like something like that happened in scrim a lot. Like we got 2 pick and we won the fight. What? Like just so weird versus SSG. They just like they got 2 pick and they lose to us. I don't know how. And 6-0 and they mental boom. Like what the fuck? Like what is that? Like in Mauga mirror.
Just real classic scrim team, dude. Like, so just cannot fucking focus in a scrim. It's unbearable. It's unbearable. But it's better than shitting the bed in the match, I'll be honest. It's way better to see people rise to the occasion and play a lot better. I remember this like in our very first week with SSG, like our scrim results were like really average. Like the cope was coming out super heavy. Like it was just a situation where like I can't even remember if we were on ping at the very start. I think we were on ping. We were on ping at the very start.
Yeah.
And like we had lots of different cope avenues and stuff like that about why our performance is average. But at the end of the day, most of that actually had nothing to do with it. It's just that we're like really average intensity in scrims, and then the match starts and people play drastically better. I remember having this genuinely one map into our first match of the regular season, and I had this enormous wave of relief wash over me as I realized that people played a lot better in match. Like you can hear it in the way that they're talking and the way that they're thinking about the game. They are just significantly more engaged in the moment, and it's like, okay, this is important. This is Dante in 23. This is Patty in 22. Like I've seen this before. This is Lastro in 2020. Like I've seen this a million times before. Thank God I'm seeing it again here in the match.
So you're gonna win the next match as well then?
Bloody hope so. I'm a bit like Smash,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit like Smash, where I feel that, I'm always nervous about every single match, Like it's important that I feel pressure so that then I do the work. If I feel pressure and I'm worried about the result of a match, then I will always work harder to do my job and make sure that we're like actually trying as hard as we can to improve. But at the same time, like no matter how worried I am about a match, obviously I'm going to back us, like I think that history has shown that we can beat these teams, right? Like we lost to Team Liquid in reg season because they played ball on 3 maps and I solved it on 0 maps, like that time has come and gone. Like we are well past losing 3 maps in a row to Team Liquid playing wrecking ball, like the solutions are there. So at that point I feel like, we should back ourselves versus this team.
And then is it just a free horse? Yeah.
What's
figure it out.
Figure it out. Just figure it out.
Is it just a 3 horse race realistically then between Liquid, SSG, and Nightmare? Timeless are kind of just a cut below everyone. Because at the start of the year, like back in that week 1 when we had our big week 1, felt like Timeless were right up there with everyone.
I think Timeless has like a very strong history of falling off, to be honest. Like every year this core is the same, they've always got that Wisp core and they always start out pretty strong and they always kind of trickle down towards the end. They've got some issues with mental and stability, and like no matter how much they chop and change the roster, it always feels like they have these similar issues coming through year on year on year. I think that like Timeless on player skill, they should genuinely be able to compete, I look at the state of like what's getting played in the meta right now and what their options are, and I feel like I was concerned about the Timeless match this week even more than I was in the match last week. We load into the match and they just didn't shoot back. So maybe my assumptions are wrong, right? Maybe my assumptions are wrong about this team. But I would have thought that Timeless could have made this week's match more competitive than last week's match in terms of like what was actually available to them. But maybe they are just too weak at some of these meta comps for it to actually work. I feel like they have an outside shot at upsetting Nightmare though. Like I watched Nightmare Rad and I really thought like, wow, Rad should not be playing this team this close. Rad has been historically, like, since Hazard heavily left the meta, Rad has looked really weak. Rad has looked incredibly beatable all the time. Like, they're just not very strong on comps that aren't Hazard-centric. And with how close Nightmare played with Rad in those first two maps, I do kind of feel as if maybe there is an outside shot for Timeless to have an upset. If they have a good week, if they rally confidence-wise a little bit and figure a few things out, I think there's a chance for Timeless to upset Nightmare, to be honest. Especially, going with the whole, Nightmare play poorly in important moments
High
theory.
pressure.
The idea
Highest
that,
pressure
exactly.
game, right? Yeah.
Like, I feel like, it is being increasingly proven that maybe they are not the best high pressure team. There is no more pressure than the lower bracket, right? Like, it doesn't get any more high pressure than that. So I think if they play quite poorly,
you're meant to win as well, right? Like,
exactly.
Nightmare should come in heavy favourites on paper as well, so all the expectation is on them to perform.
Yeah, when you're an overdog and you start to lose, and you already know, like, you lose, you're out of the tournament, you lose everything that you've been working towards, there's a very real chance for an upset there. But, I mean, obviously on paper, I'd back Nightmare every day of the week, like, just being realistic here. I just think, if we want to buy into the whole, Nightmare at chokers theory, then I'd give Timeless an outside shot, because I think that they have, like, some pretty good pieces that they can make work.
And where exactly would you put Team Liquid in all of this? Because obviously they've had a pretty underwhelming regular season, I think, compared to a lot of people's expectations when they saw this roster. Obviously, they won that game against Nightmare and find themselves with the upper bracket, but it feels like this Team Liquid team still hasn't really delivered on what their promise was.
Yeah. I mean, my feeling about Liquid is that they're quite a flexible team. Like, they have perhaps more options than all of the others. Maybe that's not even true on account of the fact that we're seeing Nightmare like utilize a lot of Admiral's flexibility. But I thought overall, like, I would have felt that Liquid would have been the most flexible team on account of the fact that, they've got Vega, who's supposed to be this like ultra flexible superstar main support player. He can play a little bit of everything. And then they've got these two flex DPS players in the DPS slot where it's like Tree plays hit scan, obviously, but he's a very, very strong flex DPS at the same time. But it does kind of feel like, they're not able to fully utilize to that to the extent that they're just like constantly comp gapping everyone doing that. Are they actually winning because they have two flex DPS players and two flex support players? Like they just won, they won like a Sojin, they won a Sojin Mauga mirror on map 1. They didn't do anything crazy like in Havana or anything like that in their match versus Liquid. So I think at the end of the day, like, there's advantages to having a very deep roster, but there's also advantages to having a roster which is really, really good at one thing. And I do kind of question whether or not Liquid has that quality, whether they've put a few too many eggs into the basket of like really, really wide breadth and wide coverage, but that's come at the cost of not being absolutely exceptional at one thing. Like, you look at VP and you think like this is a team that is really, really exceptional at one style. Maybe, you look at how the Mauga mirror has come in and it's like maybe they're not quite as exceptional at that as what they would have been when they were playing more like D.Va and more poke and stuff like that. But in the case of Team Liquid, I feel like they have put all of their eggs into the breadth basket, and maybe that means that the depth is not quite as good. Do any of you guys have opinions on Team Liquid, or you're all just European?
Yeah, I thought like I scrim with them and like some kind of control map. Like we had some problem versus that because like if they ban like Sojourn or something and like they playing like Symmetra Torb and swap, like they doing swap game, we got a bit fucked because they can play Bencher and Shim or something like that. They can countering easy like D.Va combo or something. That's why we struggle a bit. But in Mauga mirror, they're quite yummy. Like yummy team. Like we just like win straight, finish map, finish Esperanzas during 4 minutes, and like Srabasa 5-0 or something. But the other map, like they can play like new things, basically new thing for EU player. Like because people really get confused a lot confused versus like new comp, something
Yeah.
like especially EU people, like with like if we trying to new thing like Ana Juno or something like that with D.Va, just enemy team, I can feel that they just changing hero a lot in the spawn and they just don't know what to do. That's yeah.
You saw like North America, I think it happened versus Nightmare. Like maybe they were playing like Ball and Torb and stuff like that on Suravasa versus Nightmare. But it's a bit different in North America because like in NA, Liquid has played this so many times already, and many teams played Torb for like multiple weeks in NA. So because everyone has already seen it, everyone has already figured it out more or less. It is a solved comp. Whereas for EU, it's a little bit different. And then again, because EU is full of off-tank players and NA is full of main tank players, it's really a super different matchup all of the time. You know, like both regions have like a very different read on how to counter stuff out because they have different players to do it, you know, and you have to think through the lens of people's hero pools. So overall,
that's why like when our scrim result is good, like 1 week, like never lose one map, like we losing like 5 at least, like just maximum 5 map in the week, and that 5 map was like versus NA team only, something like that. Maybe like 2 weeks before or something like that. Like that's why I talked to them like, oh, NA is better because we don't lose to EMEA team and we lose to some NA team. Like
maybe you just got surprised, you know?
I think
something
so too.
different.
Yeah.
It's weird because really it feels like the team that have actually shown the most competency on the most different comps in North America has been Nightmare. It feels like when I've watched them have success, it's actually them just winning on every version of a comp, the SIG version of a comp, playing Kufra on Winston as well, playing some of the Mauga themselves as well. And it feels like Team Liquid have never really delivered on that, or at least not so far. But I don't know exactly what the problem is either, really. I don't know if like some of this is just like we've only seen Knife off ping for 1 week and maybe this will get better over time. Maybe Infected's hero pool isn't, obviously it's not someone's hero pool, right? Which was like the previous system. Maybe that's where it falls down a little bit.
I feel like in the current meta, at least if we're like reading what the Korean teams are doing, the heroes that like Infected is flexible on, most of them are really fucking useless, you know? Like, what's the point in having like a good Orisa player, like even a Winston player? Like, I guess in NA, you guys make it work, but it feels really fucking pointless. Like, Ball is maybe strong, but even then, I feel like you need to be really, really fucking good to do it. Whereas if you have a Vestola who can play just fucking Mauga, Diva, Sigma, I feel like the game is solved, you know? Like, you actually really, really don't need more in this current meta. I feel like that's why I know Zeta lost, and we'll get to it, but I feel like Zeta's meta read has been pretty spot on for a while now. Like, they really, really have it. And Bernard, I feel like they never once needed another tank. I think what we were talking about earlier was like, if you have a Winston player, it's so hard in hero bans. I fucking ironically, I was like, I have a Winston player. Because the Winston Ana, like the bans either way, it makes that comp really difficult. Really, really, really difficult to force. So yeah, I think it's I don't know. I feel like in a different meta, I think you'll get more out of what you could get out of Infected than you can right now. I also feel like what you said is probably true too. Like, maybe this roster is just, unfortunately, like significantly downgraded from what they were last year in terms of every single position they've picked up. They've got worse, and all of a sudden that, you know, maybe having someone in merit on your team makes quite a big factor in how good you are. I mean, it could be a hot take. I don't know.
Like, I don't think anyone is trying to say that someone is worse than Infected at like pretty much any hero. And I think Infected's Orisa is definitely better than someone's Orisa. Like, no doubt at all. Like, someone was terrible at Orisa. But other than that, like, someone was just so high level on so many different heroes. Maybe Infected has a better ball. I don't really know about someone's ball, to be honest. But again, like, they've just downgraded from what they had last year, right? Like, it's objective. Like, you've gone from having like Merit, who's just like high diffing every hit scan all the time, to having Tree, who, you know, is very, very solid, obviously, and has more depth, which again is important, but more breadth rather. But does he have that same depth? You know, like, is he as good as Merit on hit scan? Probably not, right? Is Infected as good as someone? Probably not. And, you know, you can see how they've downgraded a little bit year to year because of that. But even they're not trying to argue against that, right? Like, they know it.
Yeah. It's also true that as much as I think Knife is a really good player, and we will see the best of him now he is off ping. I think we already saw glimpses of that in the game last week. But in North America in particular, his counterparts, and you talk about his like 3-horse race, it's Zero and Sugar Free. So actually, you talk about like the gap between someone and the rest of the NA tanks last year, and the gap between Merit and the rest of the NA hit scans last year. Very big gaps. I don't know if Knife really has, they don't have that same advantage with Knife, right? Like, Sugar Free and Zero probably both individually the best players on their team. and I think it's not the same advantage that they had last year.
Absolutely agree. Like they're just not diffing in the flex DPS role by any means. They're not diffing in the flex DPS role. Like, is anyone trying to say that Knife is a better Tracer than Lenny, or a better Gen.G than Lenny?
No, I thought.
I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah, I think that's a hot take.
Yeah, but I thought I like Lenny.
Everyone liked Lenny, bro.
Yeah,
Lenny's cool.
yeah.
All right, time to put our money where our mouth is then. 2 teams going to China from North America.
I don't know. I still fancy SSG in Liquid, I think. It looks hard to see it being otherwise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so too.
Xavier?
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like there's maybe a window here for someone to support Nightmare, but it feels like I've sort of convinced myself. But last week, unconvinced me of any sort of Nightmare belief.
Yeah, I'd go SSG Liquid as well. And like, you know, if we were in a scrim bubble purely, it's like, you know, maybe I'd edge Nightmare in there somewhere. But like, I think looking at the match performances, probably got to go SSG Liquid, eh?
They just need to find a way to play the match on a scrim day.
Exactly. That's what Copper said in the interview, right? Like, yep.
Yeah, that's the only thing holding them back. So
someone just has to gaslight the kid into thinking he's in a scrim. He gets the invite from Face It Prod and gets a big pause in the middle, and he just thinks he's in a scrim, and then everything's going to be fine.
Who's Nightmare's coach?
Wheats.
Wheats needs to change his battle tag to Face It. And when he invites to Scrim's lobby, it's just the same. That's what he needs to do. If he does that, he can win.
Or what he does is he changes all the calendars, everyone's calendar on their computer, everything, to convince them it's actually the day before the match day. And then they'll wake up, they think they're going to practice against this team, and then before they know it, they've won the series and they go into China. And then Wheats can do the big reveal. Now, it was actually the match, guys. I tricked you all, our calendars are wrong. All right. Should we hit Korea? I feel like there's always a billion stages in Korea, so we can sort of just mesh them all together into the regular season, into the seeding, into the last chance qualifier, into the playoffs, into the qualify for Asia, into qualify for further. So where we are in Korea right now is the Korea playoffs have happened, which means the top 4 teams are going to go to the Asia playoffs, where they're going to beat up some poor Japanese and Pacific teams for a week, and then they're going to have a redo, basically, of this top 4 bracket that we've seen in Korea here. So maybe the best place to start, or the most interesting place to start, because we've got the normal boys all in the big spots, but Wei were probably the breakout team this year in terms of they came together. A few players that maybe weren't as high on people's radar. Maybe if the player who was high on people's radar was Who Are You, who everyone thought, you know, well, has he only got it on Gen.G? What if you could just play Gen.G all year? Maybe then it's really fine. And they've not just been doing well. I think they've actually been one of the most exciting teams to watch as well. Like a lot of the way they have like star players, obviously, in Who Are You, Peppy doing monstrous things on the Sigma week in, week out. But actually, this last week, they didn't play that much Sigma. It wasn't just Pepe's come in and won his maps. The whole team was just doing really well. I think even the match they lost against Zeta Division in the semi-final, the 2 maps they won, New Queen Street, and I want to say, was it Suravasa or whatever the flashpoint was, were actually incredible. Like super high tempo. Every fight is a creative play. Somebody is flanking it. Felt like, you know, when Florida Mayhem season 6 and you would have no scrims against them, well, everywhere you walk, they've been waiting there for like 30 seconds already, and they have the perfect setup ready to go, or the perfect flank, or the perfect nade. So hard to play against. A really fun team to watch. So I think, really happy to see them go to the Asia playoffs, actually. I think they thoroughly deserve it. Really big breakout team.
I have a hot take about Wei, if you can hear ready for it. Hot take.
I can be ready.
Has anyone actually been impressed by Wei? I mean, this might be a hot take, but anyone else been impressed by it? I mean, maybe it's just me. No one, just me. Fuck, I knew it was a hot take.
You're always coming in with your scorching hot takes here. Now, after beating T1 twice, Falcons once, taking 2 maps of Zeta, but these guys are on the upward trajectory, I reckon.
Thank God that one Redditor figured out that Wei was impressive. You know, that was me looking at all their results. And
I
Do
had
any of you
nothing to
guys
say
feel like
about
Pepe's
Wei.
really solid on Sigma?
Yeah, I thought he's
Is
really
it-
good Sigma.
Yeah.
No.
Anyone been impressed by who I use Gen.G? I thought it's been quite good this
He's
season.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
Outrageous
had
takes.
I had nothing on Wei, but then I saw these threads on Reddit, and then thankfully I was able to steal some hot takes to provide this fresh opinions, fresh takes about Wei. I guess the big question is, does it go any further than this? Can they break into the top 2 when it comes to the Asia playoffs, or is it just going to be a bridge too far?
I thought that's gonna be kinda hard. I don't think so. I thought
Yeah.
just because
Yeah, I agree.
they
I
trying
think
yeah
it's-
they trying some Sigma and Kitty a lot. That's how they win. But they stop using that. They already other team already figured it out versus that. That's why they stop playing that comp. And if they don't have new things, I thought they get destroyed by them like any other 3 team.
It's interesting because they didn't really try the Sigma this weekend, which the implication there is probably they were still playing it in scrims. It started to not work, and then they felt they had to do something different. And then this is something I think me and Chris have talked about before. When we started having success on the Reinhardt in London, all of a sudden, all the big teams stop just thinking you're a piss take and losing to you. They realize you might be a serious problem. They stop, they sit down, they figure out your comp, and then all of a sudden, your scrims, your match results against them, you don't get any of those upsets you were maybe getting right at the start.
But an impressive team.
On the other end of the spectrum of impressive versus not impressive, obviously the team they knocked out to take that 4th spot was the only partner team to not make it in Korea, which was T1, who have had a bit of a disastrous last couple of weeks here. After losing to Wei in the regular season, they made their way through the last chance qualifier. No real problems there for them. They even they beat FTG straight away. But then they run into Wei again in these playoffs, and they just get blown out of the water here. Maybe
It felt
as well,
like such a choke. It felt like such a choke, dude.
I think they also suffer. You know how we talk about TMTU earlier, beneficiaries of more Mauga being played. T1 are in no ways beneficiaries of this change of meta.
No, 100%. I mean, I'm at least glad that Rush lost, you know, like at least that warms my heart a little bit with all the suffering I've had this season. At least Rush is also suffering. But I mean, T1, one of the teams I studied the most VODs are, you know, like I think that Donghak, I swear he's the best tank player in the world, or at least the best bad tank player. His every time I watch him, he's so good. And I think Proud is unbelievable.
Hot take.
And then I know I'm full of hot takes here today.
This guy.
And it's funny because I think when you look at the rosters in Korea, right? I think you look at Zeta, Falcons, CR. I don't think you ever see them making roster changes or upgrades. It feels like their teams are just fine. And you think, well, that means in theory T1, if they want to steal some people from Wei or whatever. But it's so ironic, isn't it? Like the best free agents in the market are a main tank and a hit scan player in Merit and someone. Even on Wei, you may be looking at like getting Peppy or maybe he or you could like upgrade them in some way. But it feels like somewhere like the hit scanning, the tank talent is so strong that the roles where T1 desperately needs to replace to get competitive doesn't even seem that like obvious a choice of who they should go for, you know? Like if this was just a weak team without a tank, then you say, well, they'll just do everything possible to get someone or Merit or whatever. But I think T1 has 2 unbelievable talents in those positions. Like easily, like I think both Donghak and Prowds could easily play for Crazy Raccoon and they would still win everything. Like not a single problem. Those 2 are unbelievable. But I don't know, like I feel like maybe they should try to poach some of the Wei boys. Like, I don't know, maybe try like a Peppy and Donghak.
What they should
maybe alternate.
No. This is a classic Chris TF fucking clueless. You just identified that Donghak is the best tank in the world, and your immediate thought is to get Peppy from Wei. Grow up. What they should do, they should kill one of Viper or Zest. It doesn't matter who, because they're both mid as fuck.
Maybe both.
Get Who Are You, so then they have more depth and a higher level on that role, and then bench opener, but don't kick him because you need someone to play Lucio, and then get one of Maka or Vigilante, one of those 2, and then just play Skewed on Brig and Juno and all of those main support characters. Skewed can play like the Brig and the Juno and all of these flex support characters and these random mirrors. An opener can be on the bench for Lucio if it becomes tremendously important. And then the game is done, you know? Then they have someone that is way, way better at Gen.G if Gen.G is important. They have someone like Zest who, you know, he struggles to punch up, but, you know, he's relatively flexible within the role outside of that. And then they still have Proud and they still have Donghak full time. And they have a way better support line because they have a flex support and then they have Skewed playing like Brig and Juno, heroes that he's insane at. And then the game is done. And you don't need to get fucking peppy. Grow up.
I don't know, yeah, maybe. I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. I feel like if you drop Zest and add Peppy, then if it is a Mauga mirror or some sort of off-tank meta, then I don't know. Maybe it's the one thing that you can say about Donghak is outside of those, like, his, like, super good heroes, I don't know. Like, was his Mauga that good? Like, I don't know. Maybe. I didn't watch his PvP on Mauga, to be fair.
I think, like, on the Nambani especially, I was watching it, he was playing a lot of Ram as well, and he was actually just a liability. And I think he's not like the worst player on these heroes, but I think it's the same thing. When Donghak is on, he's good heroes for Bull, for Winston, for Doom, for Hazard. He's a game winner. He is a game winner against almost any team. When he is on for Mauga, when he's on the Ram, he's just an okay tank player at best, you know? He doesn't have the same impact. And I think, again, I mean, not to just always bring up Brush's draft every time we talk about him, but you do have to wonder again, was there a way that somewhere in, because this was best of 7, remember, in these games as well, there was somewhere in the 5 maps they played that we could have got away from this type of mirror or got Donghak onto one of these strengths or something against this team, and it feels like that was apparently never possible.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know why they playing a lot of this, to be honest. Like, just Viper is Gen.G one trick, and he's good Gen.G.
He's Gen.G one trick?
Yeah, for the year.
You watching Havana?
No, I didn't, but I mean, like, if he keep
watching
practicing,
and tell me he's Gen.G one trick.
I mean, he's real good Gen.G player. I swear to God, he's real good Gen.G. And we trying to connect him in the start of the season, you know? Like, he was my first, you remember that, right, Anta?
Yes, I remember.
I told you, like, we want to get Viper in the first moment.
You were going to get Viper instead of Jaywood, and he's choosing T1.
Yeah. And he's choosing T1, and, like, I'm so sad because, like, he's good Gen.G player. Yeah, but I don't know, like, Jest is kind of choker. Like, he dying too much.
Yeah.
And they practicing a lot of Jest, and I don't know, like, that lineup is kind of cool for me. Like, my expectation is, like, at least top 4 in Korea, but they fucked it up. But it is what it is. Like, maybe support had some problem, or I don't know.
I feel like with Viper, what I always see is that it starts well, but then as soon as a couple of things go wrong, his performance just drops off a cliff. And then what always happens is Viper comes in, like they actually won map 1 against Wei. Viper played pretty well, playing a lot of Tracer, 1 map Gen.G, or 1 round Gen.G. Everything's really fine. Something starts to go wrong in the matchup, in the comp. Not even always Viper's fault, but as soon as there is, I guess, adversity, it feels like Viper just falls off a cliff. And I think this is what happened to him last year as well, when he was on Fnatic, and he was the starting player for Fnatic. And then a couple of maps go badly at Esports World Cup, and we just never see him again. He's just, clearly something goes wrong. The coaches don't trust him anymore in that. It feels like there's some kind of performance issue, maybe more than talent issue with Viper.
Yeah, so like someone had to handle him. That's why when he playing with Junbin, he was really good. Like, but Donghak is like, what can I say? I don't think his comms is not good enough versus Junbin. You know, Junbin comms is perfect. Like, sometimes I'm listening his calling, like, oh my god, he talking everything. But I thought Donghak is not yet. He's just playing himself, focus on his like skill, I guess. I don't know, like I have no idea, but so sad that guy is getting top 6. And Wei get the like 4th spot. Like, that's gonna, maybe they have a lot of suffer right now.
It feels like at least like what Wei did is they have a fucking super unique style, or at least they try to, and they made it work like against all of the odds. Whereas I guess similar to Gen.G in a way, it's kind of like T1 also had something really unique. And to be honest, I've sympathized because I feel like what made them really good is really fucking bad right now, you know? Like trying to play like only dive tanks is maybe tough, but I don't know. I guess it also feels rough when you see a team with Donghak just kind of bow out playing Mauga.
Yeah, I guess because both these teams now have T1 and Gen.G are in the same situation, right? Where stage 1 is over for them. They're not going to be playing for a long time now. And I guess the question that will obviously come up is like roster changes, or what do they change? Who do they replace if they can? Or if they replace anyone?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like what Unter said, I think is really reasonable. I think definitely try to look into supports as much as possible. And then maybe you just seems like a no-brainer. He was pretty fucking good.
I feel like he's still got the his Gen.G level is still like 5 tiers above everything else. Like his other heroes are fine. Like we've seen him do okay on Echo, okay on Torb. But I feel like it's a similar thing to Donghak. Well, right? Like if you get him on Gen.G and Genji's good in the meta, he'll be one of the best players in the server every time. On everything else, he'll just sort of be another player in the server.
I feel like they just have like 2 generalist flex DPS players right now. Obviously they've Proud, and you never need to change that. But in that flex DPS role, I just think like whether you're playing Viper or Zest, like who fucking cares? You know, they're both just like really average. So one of the 2 can be replaced. I don't really know or have a strong opinion on who it is, but I think like neither of them is filling the shoes well enough to justify having 2 generalists. You know, you might as well have someone that is a real specialist, like Who Are You, and then just play your generalist everywhere else. You know, play Who Are You when he's valuable, and then play your generalist everywhere else. And it's not like Who Are You is such a hard one trick that you get Genji banned and you lose the map, right? Like he plays other stuff. Wei can win maps without him on Genji. So it's not that insane. But I really do feel like they should have someone that has really high highs. Same as, you know, the situation is with Donghak and Proud. Because that's how you build a winning roster.
I think is it worth giving, I'm going to probably say his name wrong, but the Wei coach, Gultek, am I saying that right?
It's the Nightmare coach as well.
Nightmare coach as well. And actually, considering all the things we've sort of seen about Wei, you know, we talk about them not just being successful in terms of players popping off and sort of coming out, but the style as well. Like, again, those maps against Zeta Division, this isn't, I mean, some of it was Who Are You being really good at Genji, but a lot of it is just the style they play. Like, suddenly Maka looks like the best Ana in the world or something, that map, you know, like unplayable. And this is Zeta Division, right? These are established, experienced people. They won every game in the seeding tournament the week before Zeta Division. And all of a sudden, this new style's going really well. We'll hear the same things about how well Nightmare are doing on scrims as well. And especially, again, Nightmare on all these different comps. Maybe, you know, if I can put 2 and 2 together, there seems to be a common factor between a couple of these teams doing very well in both regions.
Good pick.
I feel like we missed a really good opportunity to talk about the Korean games, but do it like plat chat without understanding anywhere close to like the way that the format works. You know, like we could have like.
Oh, we should have done we pretended we thought these teams were out.
Yeah, we could have done could have been funnier with this, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
I mean, I genuinely don't understand the format, if that helps. I feel like I'm the spirit of plat chat in a lot of ways here. Because, you know, even though I'm really professionally engaged in what's going on, I still have no fucking clue what's going on. So I think that's very plat chat-esque.
No, I like that, actually. I feel like one thing that's... I'm so jealous of the Korean format sometimes, because I swear they literally just play all the good teams. Like, every day I would wake up and I'd come on X's stream at 8 a.m. Like, oh, it's Crazy Raccoons Falcons today. And
it's been 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row.
I swear these teams are playing every fucking week, but it looks so much fun, you know? Like, always, like, big games every single fucking week. Even if it's, like, low stakes, it looks so fun.
Well, I think it's like, it's low stakes. You sound okay.
Oh, okay. I was told that when I walk away. Sorry.
It seems to be okay this time. But I was going to say, even when the games are low stakes, right, and we're just in, you know, this one doesn't matter. We're still, you know, Crazy Raccoon and Falcons are going to play again in 2 weeks' time as well. Maybe even again next week as well, you know. But maybe we'll make it 6 weeks in a row. But it's just good every time, because as much as the stakes aren't high, the players still care, the teams still care, right? Like, it's a big enough game that everybody wants to do well. So you still just get a quality game anyway. And then eventually you get a really high quality, high stakes version 1 at the end as well. So yeah, all for it, really.
Yeah, I think like the way that you get these like constant repeated matches, it's like really, it's a non-issue, you know, because in Korea there's like at least 5 teams that are good, you know, like 5 like really high quality teams, like T1 and below, or T1 and above, I suppose. And if you get like repeated matchups on top of that, you get so many high quality games all of the times. It's like the stakes don't even matter that much. if you just enjoy watching good Overwatch. And when you watch these matches, you always get to watch good Overwatch. It's really fun, you know. Occasionally you'll get, like in Korea, it's an exception to get a bad day of Overwatch rather than a bad week. Meanwhile, in North America, you get three consecutive bad weeks. You know, like it's not like a 1 day situation. Korea, they have 3 days instead of 2. Oh, like Korea, there's 3 in America too. What am I talking about? But there's bad weeks in NA. There's no such thing as a bad week in Korea because there's too much high quality Overwatch all the time, and that's just not the case in the other regions. I'd say. Maybe EU's better still, but I'm asleep.
Yeah, I thought EU getting much better than this year. I thought next year with more good Korean player will come EU. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. Next year. Yeah.
EU having the Saudi money is so beneficial for the quality of the
depth
the league,
of it
you
as
know.
well.
Yeah, because I feel like this year, like we actually had maybe minus Pep, you know. We had like we had 6 pretty good teams, you know. And every week there was like, even if it was like TM versus Peps or something, it was still something that you would look forward to. Whereas if I see SSG versus Rad, I don't even fucking watch that shit, you know, like actual resident sleeper, as the kids say.
Yeah, I thought Leo like, and for me, like EU have some, like, what can I say, like good look. I can feel that somehow, some kind of good looking player a lot, especially Peps, like ex Jodia, right? That guy is like, he's still young, and Esignum, it's really hard
Ice
to.
Gnome?
Yeah, Isignum. What?
You don't
I
need
know
to
how
make G
say.
sound. Ice
Yeah.
nom.
Ice Gnome. Ice
Yeah,
Gnome,
perfect, bro. Perfect.
something like that. Like they have a lot of new player, and that's gonna be real good for Overwatch scene. That's gonna be real good for Overwatch scene. Like, and FPL, like maybe young player learn a lot in there, and that's gonna be good for this scene. I'm sure.
America is same, to be honest. Like most of these top teams are full of young players, right? Like
Yeah.
Nightmare has young player, and Liquid has like maybe average age 19 or something, like really young player. So I think it's just a young man's game, but EU has like a bigger pool of talent to draw from, you know? Like EU has more than just 3 teams that play competitively, whereas NA is really small. Korea and EU are still fairly big. But even in Korea, like once you get out of that top 4, maybe top 3 even, there start to be like really patchy roles, you know, like looking at like T1's support problem and flex DPS problem, stuff like that. And because Zeta Division have
right?
Pelican and Alpha E together, already it's a problem with talent.
Yeah.
Should we speak
Korea
about one
don't
of the
have-
other teams?
yeah.
Oh, go on, Smash.
Yeah, Korea don't have that much player for beating CR and Falcon, for like especially versus CR and Falcon and Zeta. They don't have that much good player. Like problem is that like I thought if they have some more good player, a lot more organization is coming. I'm sure if they can feel winning that team, but they have no idea to winning them. Like even like T1, they make a new roster with like young player, but they got fucked by them. And like it's really hard to getting new player.
I felt like when T1 were putting the roster together, that what they really needed to do if they wanted to break the top 3 is they needed to steal a player or something. Like they needed to take a player away or something with like if they could just offer him more money or a better looking team, or maybe someone like Pelican and Alpha is the obvious one, because you could be like, you could just be the starter, no more share playtime, you just play. But I think when they weren't able to like take any parts of the roster from CR or Zeta, I felt like it was always going to be hard to build something that's the same strength.
It's just so hard. Oh yeah, Majed, that's the glue. If you had Majed on the roster, maybe you'd win. But I think the problem is that T1 is a really poor roster. It's a super rich organization, but T1 is a very low paid roster. I think it's like the lowest paid partner team, maybe?
Oh, really?
Or, yeah, like they're absolutely bottom, for sure. Like bottom 2, no doubt. So I think with T1 having such low pay, all of these pipe dreams of like, can we steal a player? It's like, that's just not fucking happening, buddy. Because all these players on these higher ranked Korean teams, they're getting paid way, way more, and they're safe on these rosters, you know? Like they have no reason to leave. Why would you take a risk and join a potentially weaker team for a massive pay cut? And I think the short answer
less
is
chance to qualify.
does seem like a no-brainer when put like that.
You could ask Dongak.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I forgot what I'm saying. Sorry. I have some idea,
Shut
but
the fuck
I
up.
forgot. Yeah, sorry.
I'm sure it was good. I'm sure it was good.
Like Krusty when they were figuring out that comp.
Like Krusty when he's doing bans and they're losing Mauga Mirror twice and then banning Torb or Junkrat or something.
I had an
Be
idea
nice
for
for
this.
him.
It's not important.
Why? He never nice for me.
Really?
Oh.
Should we speak about Krusty's old team then? Because another team that had a sort of disastrous week, but an unconsequentially disastrous week because they still qualified anyway, which was Team Falcons. Yeah, so they still get to go to the Asia playoffs and they get another shot at it. The main problem they had is after playing Crazy Raccoon for the third time in 3 weeks, somehow they won one, lost one, and then this one, they got absolutely embarrassed. 4-0, wasn't close. Feel like Crazy Raccoon were just a mile ahead on everything. Maybe Proper as well, probably had one of the weakest performances we've seen from him. Normally a player who always does so well in these big games. But felt this was like an absolute, like a canyon of a gap on just everything Falcons tried.
I think Falcons can win. I think those teams always have like a big back and forth, and maybe Falcons a little bit behind on their read of the situation, but I think their roster is really, really good for how things are shaping up. I think maybe Crazy Raccoon having this like additional layer of depth that nobody else in the top 3 or 4 in Korea really has, in the form of the fact that they can have Max playing like all of these off-tank matchups, but then they can also have Junbin playing all of these main tank matchups, and they're a little bit ban-proof with it because they are so flexible, like even within that role. I think Crazy Raccoon will always be a difficult team to beat because of that, you know, because they are so strong on that. Pharah is really important now, and they just have Heesung on Pharah, you know? Like, when Heesung is on Gen.G, he's like getting diffed by Proper, getting diffed by Alpha U. But then when Pharah is in, Heesung is just the best Pharah in the world, you know? Like, he's just beating all of these guys. Like, he's actually making Alpha U his little bitch in the match. Like, he's destroying him. And we are, like, so positive about Alpha U anytime we're casting the games, but, like, Heesung is actually fucking destroying him. So I think, like, Falcons, overall, like, I'm not sure whether they can beat Crazy Raccoon in a final, but I think for sure they can play close with that team. They can beat Zeta because I think it's always really, really close between these teams. And with their roster, they can always be competitive. Just need the right read on the situation.
It is
I feel
also
like
true.
Every time I'm like, okay, Crazy Raccoon are finally pulling ahead, you know? Like, they're finally, like, that gap is now, like, insurmountable. And Falcons just win out of nowhere, you know? I felt like, this season, like, with hero bans, it's going to be tough for Falcons. Or they've lost their coaches, or they didn't replace Smurf. It's going to be tough. And then they just win out of nowhere, you know? And yeah, it's so possible, you know? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it really is just completely pointless to write them off because it just takes one 9K crackdown and then they're fucking back.
What? In the course of the time it's taken us from recording our last episode to this episode, we have seen Falcons have a fall off. They lost in week 4 of the regular season to Way, and then they lost, I think, to Crazy Raccoon, or maybe it was Zeta that week as well. And then redemption in the seeding tournament immediately, and they beat Crazy Raccoon again. I think I've got it the right way around. But it seems like as well, yeah, like there's always these 3 teams, especially Crazy Raccoon and Falcons, but I think throw Zeta in there as well. They're always just whoever's better on the day. Like, the level's so close, whoever's better on the day, it's always possible. A little bit of meta, a little bit of how the draft goes. Could be anyone's game, really.
It feels like this time, if this tournament, Zeta don't qualify over one of Falcons or Crazy Raccoons, this is going to be like, I don't know, this is going to be the one that really sucks. It feels like they're closer to those teams than they've ever been. Maybe like at all times last year, you kind of knew Zeta when it came down to it. Maybe you just didn't fancy them.
I think that's Kappa. Like, Zeta would literally like lose the map 7s, dude. Like the qualifiers to make it into these final tournaments. Like,
but surely they've done better. They did better this tournament than any other tournament, right? Did they? They never finished second.
It's better to win. It's better to win than to lose a map 7. Yeah.
They got which one did they get? Did they? Oh, okay.
I can't remember which stage it was. I swear they got to. Was it stage 1? Maybe. I can fact check myself. It's going to get it gets messy because obviously there's the Asia playoffs and the Korea playoffs both times last year as well. You know, so I think in the Korea playoffs, Zeta have got to the finals, but obviously they've never got to the finals in the Asia playoffs, which is the one that actually gets you to the international event. Check in.
But I don't know. I felt like I actually felt like going into this game against Crazy Raccoons, I felt Zeta were going to win. I feel like they had the read. So I don't know. I feel like I still stand by what I say. I think this is the best chance they've had so far.
Stage 2 Korea last year, it was Zeta v Falcons in the final. Falcons won. So Zeta have never won a final, but they've been to a final before.
Okay.
Should we talk a little bit about Zeta as well? Because, like you said, I think this is their best shot, but they also came up hopelessly. I mean, hopelessly is like too strong a word, but they came up short again, right? It felt like Crazy Raccoon was able to find a new level, playing their own comps as well, had an answer to all of the Diva, had an answer to the Mauga as well. Like it felt like even though that's what Zeta wanted in terms of it, and everyone seemed to copy their meta read. Actually, Crazy Raccoon were able to win this grand final. They played maybe Mauga for half a map at most, and they dominated them. And when I looked at that game as well, like thinking back on it, I feel like the normal sort of things you point to on Zeta Division is like, wow, can Flora really hang with Lip? But actually, on this day, I think Flora was, if anything, was better than Lip. Like not like by a giant margin, but like more than held his own, if not slightly ahead. I thought Violet and Finn also really good days as well. Maybe obviously she always has a fucking good day, right? So there's always like sometimes you have a good day, but some other fucker always has a better day. But I felt like this was actually like maybe Alfie Heesang was the big difference maker. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like so hard when like Crazy Raccoon play well to get close to them.
Yeah, I mean, it really helps when Violet is literally jumping off the map, but they did win that map. Credit where it's
I think he played well apart from that. Apart from that one time, I mean, Max, literally earlier today, you didn't factor in gravity. And this same thing happened to Violet, where he didn't factor in gravity, but you always need to assume there's going to be gravity in the situation, you know?
Yeah, I think end of the day, it really pains me to say it, but somehow the Skipper gapped Lip. Like, how did he do that?
He did.
He lost, but Skipper actually gapped Lip. He was playing so fucking good during that match, so outrageously well. Like, Havana was just unreal. Even I think Li Jiang at the end, like Skipper's just good for one all the time. It's just Alfie's good for being dead. Heesang's good for two, so that didn't work out. You know, danced at all.
The math doesn't add up. Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't check out. But unbelievably close.
I heard like in the scrim, Zeta is the best team that week. I heard about that. Like Junbin maybe told me Zeta is strong team in the start, but like they figured it out that week and they win. But kinda for me a bit awkward is like Falcon. I thought Falcon can play much better than that. I thought they just struggle a bit about like comp things or something versus Crazy Raccoon, because like Falcon's DPS pick looks kind of weird for me. Like they have like both flexible DPS in the world and make them play Shimtorp everywhere, like somewhere. Like that looks kind of weird. But 9K married that week, so kind of makes sense. yeah, like you know, like yeah, like 9K will maybe kind of busy in that week, and they have Sparkle and who is there like 8, but I'm not sure about that guys yet about coaching. So because I trust 9K only, you know, I'm not a big fan of Sparkle and 8, you know, so they'll figure it out.
Should we do some predictions then? Because I feel like the Asia playoffs themselves, we're going to do a group stage first, which I reckon is pretty easy to predict, right? The Korean teams are going to come out, the Pacific and the Japanese teams are not going to come out. So hopefully we can all agree on that part of the bracket. But again, only 2 spots for China. So who's making it out?
So it just goes. Only 4 teams get out of groups, and then they just do a double elim
straight into the semi-finals, and they do a double elim. So we might see Crazy Raccoon Falcons maybe 5 more times by the end of this. You know.
Okay, I quite like that actually.
Bear in mind Falcons and go on.
It's Crazy Raccoons and Zeta that go to China.
I'm personally Falcon and Zeta.
Ooh.
It's
Ooh,
gonna
no
be
crazy
fun.
raccoon.
Yeah, because
No
they
crazy
win too
raccoon.
much.
Yeah,
They want too
true.
much.
You can't stop them, Bo.
Oh, I mean, like
Uh.
they have to get suffering a bit at least. I
True.
hope so. Please, yeah. Because
Share some of my pain for once.
I wanna bully Junbin. Like, okay, I'm going Hangzhou. See ya then, or something like that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Crazy Raccoon Falcons build. I never want Zeta to win. I'm a Zeta hater, and I believe in both Crazy Raccoon and Falcon for all of these big moments.
Yeah, I feel like Crazy Raccoon, because one of the big things, like, you think Stockholm last year when we watched Crazy Raccoon get in the ring with Falcons on the Mauga mirror for the 8th time in a row, and we maybe have some criticisms of, like, surely there was something else. This time they run into a similar meta, and it's just no Mauga. They're just like, we're not even going to entertain the idea that we might play a mirror that we don't think we're better at. We're going to have our own
Hero
answers.
bans, mate.
Yeah, hero bans, all of that as well. I feel like it's actually just Crazy Raccoon, definitely. And then it's really 50-50. But I do feel like Falcons are always just good in the clutch, right? Like, because we had this exact situation last year, right? Where Falcons, Zeta always end up being in that lower bracket final to qualify for the international event. It always goes to the final map. And it's always Falcons. It's always Falcons. So I think, nothing ever happens. All right. Was there anything else we've missed from the week worth of action, or the week's worth of action? I feel like we've hit all the regions. Any other major news happen?
What China doing right now?
Oh,
Cares.
What like China have 2 spots, right? Chinese team have 2 spots for like matching in Hangzhou, but I have no idea about what China team they have. like maybe they have some like what is that guy? Like Shy Deep China super team,
Yes.
right? And then
They have,
I
like-
heard like Belusrea and Choi Se-hwan, right? And some kind of other Chinese team, but they start match soon, right? Like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, let me check. Because they're gonna do a really quick OWCS basically.
Yeah,
we talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
Korea doing
Mhm.
1 billion rounds. China gonna do it in a slightly more efficient manner, where
Yeah.
they are going to do. They're doing open qualifiers very soon, and then on the 27th of March they start their regular season, and then I think they do the regular season in a week, and then they go straight into playoffs like the next week, and they're just going to do like a really quick.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, and then top two join the rest of the teams here. So they're going to be like a little bit later than everyone else, but they'll squeeze in a quick OWCS.
Yeah. They stealing our 1 spot. That.
I think NA should only have 1 spot and 3 to EU, to be honest. That's the feeling I get.
Yeah,
I feel
for
like it
me,
might be
like,
a little bit biased.
yeah, this season EMEA like feel like kind of Korea, to be honest. Like Korea WCS, like that dogfight a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Next week is
I
going to be a
know,
fucking
yeah.
dogfight.
We know like Korean is better team, but like Korea have like better like player and a lot of better team, but in here same, like, you know, like we're here like EU level, high level team, 5 team or 6 team just fight each other, and like we're same, like, because like they have like Pacific team and Japanese team, but they're not gonna win every single map in the series. I'm surely they can't win any map in Asia like final or something. But who knows? China's team getting champion or something in Hangzhou.
I mean-
Yeah, home
Agree.
advantage or something. Yeah, you know.
Hometown?
Yeah.
Home advantage.
I feel like actually, like once again, it'll be fine. I think like similar level NA EMEA teams, maybe like right meta good for Korea. But then if the second team is like Rock Esports or something, I think they're so fucked going to the international LAN. Like they need to
I
have
guess-
holiday mindset. Unfortunately, they are having a holiday in the country they already live in.
I don't know how. I guess the way that seeding is going to work is every first seed is going to play against the second seed from a region, right? But
Yeah.
then
Well, it's so
maybe
nice
they'll
to get the China
randomize
second
it.
seed.
Whoever gets China number 2 is just going to be
Yeah.
going to be so happy.
We got that. We got that.
If
Yeah,
EU1
that's true.
gets China number 2, it's like
Oh,
that's insane.
at least
And then
at the top
EU2 gets Korea 1, then you're fucked, you know?
The difference
like,
between getting Korea 2 and China 2 is
it's unbelievable.
astronomical.
Imagine
like,
that. We'd
have
actually
to-
someone is going to get fucked.
Stalker or Dia today. Like,
Someone is
Yeah.
gonna win their region and then have to play against fucking Falcons. It's like their reward, you know? Like, and someone is gonna just dogfight, come second, and then they're gonna play against fucking Spark or SSG or something, you know? And it's like
Yeah.
the difference is insane.
Like we had that experience last year. Like we got 1 seed in World Cup, and we have to pick Falcon in that moment.
Yeah.
Like like, we got 3-0 in the 3 donut in in the first group tournament, and we have to pick Falcon, and something like that. So annoying situation.
Fucking Koreans.
Yeah.
glad you agree with that, Smash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
it, though.
Yeah. I just saying agree. It's so funny, you know. I'm Korean.
All right. I think we've covered everything then, which means it's time, you might remember this from our last episode, for Draft of the Week. And obviously, we're using the term week very loosely because it's been a few
Draft
weeks.
of the episode.
Draft of the episode. We've narrowed it down to 3. That sort of ones that stood out because there's been plenty more than this. But if we just went through every single bad draft, we'd be here all week. So the first entry is, of course, Uncoachable's own Chrissy G with the Peps draft, which obviously led to a degree of downfall here. I mean, you've sort of broached the subject already. I think when we spoke in the group chat afterwards, you were like, "This might have been my worst draft ever." Does it still feel like that?
I mean, I think most of it is okay. I I remember the Sigma ban. I should have banned something else there, but it wasn't that impactful. But map 5 is just fucking horrendous. Like Numbani, I had no idea why I picked Numbani. I fully fucking bottled it. Like I had it all in my head, and this is the habit that I had to break. Is in scrims, I don't ask for anyone's opinion on the fucking bans, right? I just fucking do it. The players just sit there and I do it. And then in officials, oh guys, what should we pick here? What should we do? I'll read out the options to them, and like a fucking idiot, I'm like, oh yeah, I got an idea on that one. And I don't know. Like the idea of against an off-tank team was to do okay, if you pick a map like Numbani and you ban the Diva, you actually force ground tanks on a big map, which was insane for us because we always won those matchups. But it was such a fucking because this was the only team that was still playing Hazard at the time, you know? And it was so fucking dumb. It's just fucking horrendous. Like, I can't remember now, but there was so many better fucking picks. It was actually insane. So that map 5 is the only good news is it was good for Slingshot. In the long term, it was a positive, same as Max's Ashban, in the long run, it was a positive experience. Just extend the Slingshot a little bit more, learn your lesson. But it was actually just an unbelievable grief. I actively picked it. To be fair, Numbani was our highest win rate map in Scrim, so that's why we picked it. But the ban it wasn't like the Ashban where we could have hurt them more. I hurt us the most, I did a ban which actively griefed my team over anything. So I don't know. Hard to cope your way out of this one.
Well, the good thing for you was it was only a regular season game. Because our next 2 entries, because I always feel when you mess up the draft, if you mess up the draft in an important moment, it's worth more. So our next entry is from Krusty for the draft against Twisted Minds. A little bit of a shorter draft in this one because of the nature of how the series went. But obviously, a few question marks maybe towards Ben as well, as we've had mirrored Junkrat bans in consecutive maps. And then obviously the map 3 was the Dorado, which we already talked about a bit, about not banning Diva or targeting TVNT in that one. And then, protect and support instead. But especially when you don't win a single point across an elimination game, and you've banned Junkrat in map 2, it feels like there's got to have been room for optimization here in terms of the impact of the bans.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be fucking true. I feel like TM's bans are so fine because they just, I mean,
Keep protecting tank.
I mean, they want everything open, you know? Like, it's the same thing that Crazy Raccoons used to piss bans away, but it was partially because they didn't, like, I think I had one in this series, I banned Roadhog because it's like, there was nothing I wanted to ban. Like, I want it all open because we're favored in that situation. But then, I don't know. Like, I just, surely if you're, surely you have 2 flex DPS players and you play against the best hit scan in Europe, surely just take Sojourn out and don't ban Junkrat. Like, it seems such, like, if you're one of these teams that also, like, if you're Smash and you also have a hit scan player, then the Sojourn ban it's a little bit more tricky because, like, it hits both teams.
Yeah.
But surely with Sauna top Dragon, just hit Sojourn and play double flex DPS, and you at least, even if you feel like you have to play Mauga and you have to play the rest, at least you can fit. Like,
Who is that?
What?
Who's the bald guy? You got new face?
Our
New
manager.
player.
Another face. Wow.
Oh, he's famous now.
Sorry.
One more face.
Yeah,
Like,
real.
but
One more
he's-
face.
Yeah.
The return. And then, obviously, high stakes, always going to, sometimes they say pressure makes diamonds. Sometimes the lights are just too damn bright. And unfortunately, you might recognize, a familiar face here for a little bit of a dodgy ban when all the marbles are down. His third entry is from Zeta Division. You never know who is responsible for the bans when there's 3 coaches, but there is a player on Zeta Division who has a history of maybe getting a little bit nervous on the final map of a series or a match point situation, and maybe banning something that is less optimal than others. Because to be fair, all the bans, there's like some merit of like, did they ban Anna too early? Is Samoa the best map? Like small things. But once we get to map 6 was Lijiang Tower. And as you're playing against Crazy Raccoon, right? So what are they going to play? Probably some Bull, probably some Pharah. How's the Pharah matchup been going? Really fucking horrendous for us the entire time, and Lijiang, the best map for it. They banned Diva. Oh, they banned Diva. So the Pharah ban is open. Rascal, what do you want? Rascal, what should we ban? We've not got a lot of time, Rascal. What do you want to ban? Bastion. Unbelievable. And this was to tie it up and send it to map 7.
The 30 seconds is so much pressure.
I thought they have some leak, I guess.
Well, you think there was a Bastion coming?
Yeah.
I mean, we did see some Bastion in Korea, but it's Lijiang Tower. You're playing against Heesang. You've been getting rocked by this Pharah all day long. You've 6 maps. Not once. Like, if you'd already used it by now, it's like, okay, tough situation. But the fact that it was left open by Crazy Raccoon, it just feels like it was going absolutely begging. And this would have been the map to send it to map 7. And, who knows? So this just felt like huge missed opportunity, plus just a comical hero instead. Just not even really hard to justify. The Bastion was going to be their biggest problem here on this Lijiang Tower.
But this is so hard to justify over the other 2, Like, even this one, like, for sure, me and Krusty have fucked up way more than this, I think.
This is just like the final one ban. Not
I think
an entire
this is
series, like one ban.
This is a missed opportunity 6 maps in. Whereas, the other 2, it's like, I'm going to go with outrageous throws, like just insanely trolling. Like, Krusty, like, he just can't see the writing on the wall after a 0-2. You're down that bad, like, you're getting destroyed. And he doesn't see a Sojourn ban at all, despite, having 2 flex DPS players and going up against Quartz. And then with Chrissy G, there's like perhaps a missed opportunity to ban out soon specialty pick that lost them Colosseo. And then there's just like the dodgy Numbani on top. So like, I feel like there's no way that you can give it to banning protect banning DPS essentially on map 6 compared to fumbling multiple maps worth of bans for both Chris and Krusty.
I mean, the Colosseo, okay, I swear Soon played like Torb for half of it, but the Numbati is so hard to cope, you know, like that is such a fucking.
Yeah, Soon played Torb and he instantly died 4 times and used his ult and died, and then went Tracer and stole the cart and lost the map.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. I think we can handle the Tracer, to be honest with you.
It's not the Tracer on the cart. That's something that was outside of the realm of being dealt with.
Well, I suspect it was possible, but
He's in his 30s, man. Like,
yeah.
I
don't know.
I agree. It's a 2-horse race. I enjoy the Zeta one because it's like there's like a sense of deja vu here from the Esports World Cup, you know, of just when the lights are bright, just gonna pick a random DPS hero. But I think you're right, Nat. The others were way more impactful. Or so I don't know.
Yeah, I can take it, but I think it's crusty, to be honest with you. Because
I'm leaning crusty as well because it's a playoff game. It's an elimination game, right?
And I think everyone knew that all TM wants to do is Mauga Mirror, and everyone knew TM was good at Mauga Mirror, and everyone knew that Quartz is good. And I feel like we did nothing to try to even. To be honest, even the Gen.G versus VP is also bad because it was the same thing, right? They just took the mirror across 4 maps. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is like, I mean, you know, maybe I was under a little bit of pressure. Map 5. This, you know.
How do you play?
Yeah, Hattie did maps 1
How
and
do you
2.
play 2 map? Yeah.
TVNT came in for Dorado. Yeah.
I think must give it to Krusty then for sure, because if they taking 2 maps of Mauga Mirror when Hattie was playing, then that feels like the biggest throw. I think that like the Dorado is like actually the most excusable of the lot.
Yeah,
on account of the fact that it's right which way direction to go.
Just because it's like really hard to protect, like, you know, like they don't have like any confidence in Mag on ball. I suppose they've lost that. They finally, you know, wisened up and realized that guy is drunk. And when it comes to like protecting Mag playing non-Mauga, like he's just gonna wind up in a Diva mirror versus TVNT. You know, like that's just what's gonna happen, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think the draft got thrown earlier on by taking a mirror where everyone knows that Twisted Minds is ultra comfortable. Like it's probably like their best comp, or you know, one of their best comps. So that's probably where it gets trolled the hardest. Like Kiri and Junkrat, like that's gonna do so much. That's gonna do so much.
Sure. Is the fact that they get every map, every ban, every map pick, and they failed to.
And they must have just had like the wrong read. They must have just delusionally felt that they were better at Mauga Mirror. Like there's no other way.
I think it's like, I think they just spent the entire week practicing it, and then what the fuck do? You know, like realistically, they should have tried to maybe go away from it a few days earlier. I guess with hindsight, obviously it's really easy with hindsight, but I don't know. I sympathize with the decision in a way, but at the same time, you also, I don't know, I guess you're paid in this meta to make tough decisions if the writing is on the wall. And if you can't see it, I don't know. One thing that I think we should have talked about.
Cemented, I was just going to say, it's cemented a bit by the fact that the exact same thing happened the day before in the other series as well, right? So if you like combine like the 7 maps, I guess it was. If it was very much like we've sort of gone 7 maps without really.
It was like Crazy Raccoon taking the Mauga Mirror against Falcons 7 times in a row. On the 8th, we've got them though, you know. I feel like, do you guys feel the same? I think second ban is so much better than first ban in so many situations. I think first ban is really not an advantage in this meta. And I think if Trev or whoever gets to this stage of the podcast, which seems almost fucking impossible, maybe if we said it on Plat Chat, Aaron Keller or whatever he's called would have watched it. But
Aaron Keller would change it tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
first ban is really hard.
Second ban is better, really.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just have the same rules as Esports World Cup, right? Where the person with the advantage to pick can pick if they want to go first or second.
Yeah, I thought that's better. Because like we pick every first map like during the whole season, and so annoying to banning first time, like in the first, like because we usually like scream like a match and loser team pick the map and pick the hero. That's why we keep winning the scream. Like we have a better we're more good choice than enemy team because we can I can figure it out what they want to do with that ban, and I can blocking a lot of things what they want to do, and that make me make us good scream, you know? Yeah.
if you have second ban and you have a brain,
Mhm.
doesn't work for me, but works for some
Yeah.
other coaches, I think.
Mhm.
You just immediately have this advantage where it's like the ban
Yeah.
telegraphs what the enemy team wants to do. If you know the enemy
Yeah.
team, you know like a couple of the different things they play.
For
The ban will
rosters as
instantly
well.
signal,
Yeah.
the ban will instantly signal what their plan is, and then because you have second ban, you can just counter ban their plan, all the time.
Yeah.
And then you just wind up on, say you have two plans, they ban one plan, you ban another, you wind up on the third, but you've counted out their primary plan, like that's just the way that it is. And second ban feels really, really broken in that regard, just because you can actually react to the information that's being given to you.
Like
And
whenever I'm doing my prep for the games, it's really easy. If they ban this, I ban this. If they ban this, I ban this. Like this, section is way harder to, because what you're worried about is if I pick this, then if I ban this, then they ban this. You're aware that they will also have it's why I was really scared on map 4 against against Peps, because I was like, oh fuck, what happens if they ban Juno, But they ban breaks, so cheers to that. But
Just gamble sometimes.
yeah, because you're aware
Yeah.
sometimes that there is just one ban that makes it really difficult.
I think the way the meta sort of falls at the moment as well, they're always they're not roles you can. It's not. I feel like at Esports World Cup, maybe I'm just sugarcoating the memory, but it feels like there were so many times where the protect ban would also protect for. You'd also be able to ban a good hero for them and protect for one hero you need as well. Whereas now it just feels like there's so many times where if they ban a tank, if they ban a support, you're screwed. Or if you protect a support, they ban a tank and you're screwed. And yeah, it's not a way to combine it, Or they ban a tank and then you can ban a DPS and that screws them or something,
Yeah, it's like Smash said, the Mauga comp is so reliant on a few different heroes. You can always ban one of them. So if you really don't want to play Mauga, then first you can't protect it, You can only protect it. It's why I think it's exactly why the Crazy Raccoons series, you see Mauga at the end of the series, because once certain bans have been used, you can start to actually play the comp. But if you want to ban Juno and Mauga and Brig, I don't know, the comp gets harder and harder to play, I think.
All right, feels like we reached a consensus. It's going to be Krusty.
Yes, survived another week.
Chris is as always
baby.
next week.
He's coked his way out of things.
We had to extend the length of a week quite a lot to get Chrissy past his one.
That's true.
Yeah,
he had to give 3 weeks of bad drafts and then fuck. All right, I said it in the group chat. I saw Krusty's ban. I said, let's record tomorrow, guys. Let's get it fucking going.
If anything, we should all be very grateful to Krusty, because if Krusty didn't use this set of bans, it could have been months before we were recording again. So thank you for that one, Krusty. And then, of course, we've still got Client of the Week to go. I feel like there's a few strong contenders. What I want to do first was I want to ask you, Smash, because you've now been living with Virtus Pro for a while now. Who is the biggest client to live with?
Client?
Yeah, you know what it means?
Unto help me.
Yongshin.
Huh?
Yongshin.
병신? Twister 병신?
Yeah.
In my team?
Yeah.
I thought they're too much serious. Everyone.
No,
is
not
serious.
in game. Not in game. In real
In
life,
person. Real life.
like Yaki, messy apartment and cannot do anything himself, like
probably
that.
me. Yeah. For real,
Nice
they just so nice. They're just so kind. Only me is the problem guy, I guess. For real. That's why
Smash
we don't
is
have
too
that
positive.
much fun.
Such a nice guy.
He's always happy when the other teams win. He's always blah, 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 It's not what you need. You need fucking hate, okay? Hard.
Yeah, I hate. I'm yelling too much to them. I thought their stress level is high as fuck, like me, But after that, after work, we just hang out each other sometimes, and we have a chef. They cook for us, and we eating together or something like that. Yeah. So everything is good. Only me is the problem,
Little baby.
Yeah, big baby,
Big fucking baby.
So, one of our other potential nominations for Client of the Week was another player who worked with someone on the team. This is a very strong entry here. So obviously, Smash has had a very nice experience living and sharing a living space with his players. Has yours been the same, Max?
Okay. I'm really enjoying living with Kellen and Bliss, to be honest. I'm really enjoying living with Kellen and Bliss. I think they're wonderful blokes. They don't leave a mess around the house. But Blissy, I don't think he has any critical thinking skills in the real world. I'm going to be honest. I think it's like he's all in on Overwatch, you know? So he's just fully tapped out. Like from the second I walked in the door at this house, I was like, oh God, he's a client. Oh God, no. Like there's a huge bedroom in the house, and then there's a significantly smaller bedroom. And I was expecting to be sleeping in the significantly smaller bedroom because there's 2 big ones and a small one. But I was perplexed to find that the enormous bedroom was empty. And I'm like, hey, Blissy, why you don't use? And he says, oh, I using before, but light coming in window, and I leave. And it's like, what do you mean you leave? Like, close the blind. Like, there's a blind there. And he's like, remote don't work. He's showing me the remote doesn't work. And it's like, okay, sure. I'll sleep in here. And then I walk up to the blind and I click the little manual close button on the top right of the motor and I close the blind. And it's like, okay, sick. I've solved the light problem of light waking up in the morning. But even before Blissy was having this light problem, even before I'd gotten to the house, both Koreans were having the problem that they got here and the sun came up in the morning to my right. Let me show you. You see that? You see those windows with tape over them and paper? There was no tape and paper there before, but the Koreans unfortunately couldn't problem solve the idea of sticking something over the window, and it was a bit of a Lastro blind situation where they said they just couldn't play. You know, there's too much light on the screen, they just can't play. At least with this one, they didn't have the paper and the textile, you know, they didn't have the tape and the paper handy, right? So maybe it's reasonable that they needed to ask the organization's general manager to help them out here, right? Maybe that's reasonable because there is quite a lot of light that bleeds through. It's a very bright wall. Like you can see the sun in the back there. It's killing. It's a killer. So maybe this one was reasonable. But Blissy, he couldn't manage just pressing the close button on the electric blind that actually works. So he left the room, abandoned it, and went to somewhere much smaller. But that wasn't the end of his woes, because I walked into his bedroom in the evening, and he's just sitting there in the dark. Like, he's sitting there in the pitch dark, and I'm like, Blissy, turn on the light. What are you doing? And he's like, oh, light broken. And I'm like, have you told Tucci you want to get another light bulb? And he said, oh, light bulb is here. And he opens a cabinet and it's full of replacement light bulbs. And this light bulb is like it's just above head height. Like I can reach it real easy. Like Blissy, he could reach it too. And he's like, I just don't change. So I just opened the box of light bulbs and changed the bulb for him and it's fine. But he's been sitting in the dark for 3 weeks. Like he knows where the bulbs are. He just doesn't think I'm going to change the light bulb. He's found light bulbs. He just doesn't see enough of an issue. And then he's not even done yet being a client around light. Because still, he's saying to me, oh, every day I wake up 8 a.m., sun coming up and coming through blind, and I wake up. And it's like, well, then use some of the tape and the paper that Tucci bought you and tape some shit over the gaps, you know? So now I've had to go into his room and break up a cardboard box and tape it all over the gaps on the windows to block out more light because Blissy would rather get woken up every day at 8 in the morning than just block the light himself. Just do something to block the light. Like there's a million options here. There's a million options. Just block the windows, man. It's not that hard. And then that's not even the last client thing that he's done. Because we went out and had a little drink after beating Timeless and making the upper bracket final. And we went out for dinner and me and Kellen got pissed. So I went to bed early because I'd gotten pissed. But Blissy can't drink in America, so he's sober as a judge. And then I wake up at 7 in the morning, a little bit hungover, a little bit confused, and I check team chat, and there's this bloody message of Blissy just saying, what did he say? I'm a Thanos or something like that? Yeah, I'm a Thanos. Yeah. And he sent a bloody picture of glass everywhere. He has shattered his bloody monitor, his computer tempered glass, and it's everywhere. And he's given no explanation. He's just said, I'm a Thanos. And then I go downstairs to look and see, like, is this real? Is this what I think it is? And he hasn't even cleaned up the fucking glass. He's taken a picture of it and gone to bed. So there's just glass all over the kitchen floor. I'm walking around barefoot, half asleep, and the floor is just covered in shattered glass everywhere. And I go back to bed. And I'm like, there's just no fucking way. This guy's not real. I'm not cleaning up this guy's mess. Unfortunately, by the time I was up the second time, he had cleaned up the glass, and he insists that he didn't do anything, that he just tapped the tempered glass ever so slightly with the side of a DisplayPort cable, and it just exploded into a million pieces. And to be honest, I believe him, because there's just no way that he was doing anything else, there's no way. There are those little doohickeys that break car windows, like you can break the glass really easily with this special metal. I reckon DisplayPort cables are made out of that stuff, and they break this particular tempered glass, because there's just no way that Blissey conjured the physical strength. And all of this has happened in like less than a week. Like all of this in less than a week. So like,
To be
by
fair,
the
though,
numbers, go on.
he is a Thanos.
Yeah.
I feel like you didn't consider how Thanos he is. I love that. Just break it. Oh, I'm a Thanos. All right, I'm going to bed.
Doesn't clean it. Like leaves glass on the
No
floor
action.
in a shared house.
Classic Thanos. I feel like Blissey with the light is like Krusty with the Mauga, Like it's really uncomfortable, but it's better to just suffer through it, Like don't do anything. Don't use our bands to cover up the light.
It'll buff out.
It'll be fine, There's always next stage.
You sure, Krusty? We got loads of tape and cardboard if you want to cover it. Nah, it's fine. I'll just.
It'll be fine.
We got some more light bulbs. No, I'll just sit in the dark. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Good old
So,
Blissey.
God bless him. Can't wait to find out what happens over, because that was 1 week. There's another week, so I can't wait to find out what happens next week.
What a fucking Korean gamer.
Yeah.
I thought face is kind of same.
Yeah, Hongyu.
Like, yeah, Hongyu, poor little Hongyu,
He looks
yeah.
for sure.
I thought like he's much worse than him, worse than Bliss, I guess.
Really? I haven't heard anything from our Koreans. They seem to be just chilling, I think.
Yeah, but if you live in
But maybe
Hongyu,
behind the scenes,
Yeah,
some like
yeah.
Hongyu's up to
They're
no
sitting
good.
in the dark.
Hongyu
There's
is
been
better.
no light in their apartments for this whole time. And then, all right, so that is a tremendously strong entry from Bliss. I think possibly overwhelming. But I thought this clip was worth showing as well. I don't know how many people caught this live when they came out, but this was from Majid. Walkout here. Now, if you've seen Korea before, you've seen the walkouts. You see what they do. They all come on stage, they give a little bow, and then they do hands in the middle. Eyes on Majid here as he has to clock in for work. All he has to do today is for walkout. Done. Had enough. Come on, Majid. Come on. Just pretend. Can we not pretend for 30 seconds? It's all you have to
That
do
is awesome. I
today.
didn't see that.
He does it with such aura too, Like he really pulls it off. Like the speed of which he just walks the other direction. It's so good, actually.
Wow, bad.
3, 2, 1, boomba.
You can see a little sigh almost just before he has to do the hand in the middle as well. It's like, okay.
I love it.
So
Wow.
I appreciate that one from Majid, but I think unfortunately you got to always take into account the body of work in these situations, just like we did with the draft of the week. And Blissey's body of work over this last week, I think is going to take
Substantial.
Yeah, it's going to take some topping.
My vote is actually, it's impossible to separate my vote from Blissey right now. Like no matter how big of a client there is out in the world right now, like nobody is topping Blissey for me this week.
No, I'm bliss pilled.
Yeah. Yeah. All in on Thanos.
Another win for Thanos.
All right then. That's everything. Episode in the books. I'm sure we'll record another episode, maybe even after next week, when we see if everyone's optimism and good spirits is still intact. And there is a world where all three of you go to China. So it's on the
Oh
cards.
yeah. True.
That's gonna
nice.
be happy.
Yeah.
Everyone can win.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Hopefully everyone survive next week. Cheers.
Good luck,
Let's pray.
Yeah.
Chris.